What's going on, guys? I've been working with Merrick Health now for 6 months. I want to tell you guys that if I had somebody like this when I was younger, I would have made better gains and I would have been much healthier along the way. So having a provider like Merrick Health to look over your hormones, make sure you're taking the right things at the right times, you're not taking too much or too little, making sure they're going over your blood work and make sure your health is good along the way with those hormones is absolutely priceless. So what I suggest is you go to merrickhealth.com/RBP. It's going to take you to a page where I got my blood panels done. There's a blood panel here for $120. This is just a blood panel that you can get with 53 different biomarkers that'll tell you what your blood work looks like. But you're going to be reading it by yourself. This is more important. This is the blood panel with the consultation. You're going to look at more biomarkers. You're going to look at all your hormones, and a consultant will sit with you and tell you what it means for you when it comes to optimizing your hormones, but also making sure you're healthy along the way. merrickhealth.com/RBP. Use code RBP for the 10% off on your first order, and keep healthy while you're growing. Bodybuilding is a great sport. We want to make sure we're doing it in the safest way possible. What's going on, Lee?
Not much. Hold on. I got it. Got it. I guess there's writing up the screen.
Everybody thinks that Sam is going to be the special guest today. They're going to be disappointed that it's you.
Very disappointed. But come on. I think I've eaten more cereal and crap food than Sam has yet. So I should... This is proof that you can eat shit and still live to 50 years and older.
Yeah, of course.
The way they talk about Sam, you think, oh, he's going to die because he has some fucking cereal and drinks chocolate milk. Oh, don't do that, children. Don't do that.
Mike's mad that, for those who are wondering what's going on here, Paul is away with he had nose deviated septum surgery a couple days ago.
Too much cocaine use.
So he couldn't be on today. So Mike was he said he's going to have him here in spirit. So we have the shirts.
Is that why I'm here? You said, what other old person can we get on?
What other old retired guy can I get? No, I've been thinking about it. No, the four of us have been doing bro chat now for a long time, so I thought it might be nice to like fill in some people here and there and just keep it kind of fresh and to get different opinions. And Paul was sick not sick, but recovering this week anyway. So I figured, perfect opportunity to kind of start that whole bringing.
Every time you joke around about Paul and the cocaine, I start thinking to myself, I did a bit of that. Hold on.
Why is my nose is blocked right now?
Mike and Lee, do you guys know each other already or no?
No, I'm a massive fan of you, Lee.
What type of person would tattoo their head and stuff? Come on, man. You guys are crazy.
Weirdo.
I figure you guys would get along because you guys are like both very no bullshit people. So
but you ever get that when people just ask that comment, why would you tattoo your face? Why would you because it's my fucking face. That could be a reason why I did it.
Well, actually, your permission. Okay, but actually, that's a good question. Was there any hesitation? What was the decision to go? You know what? Fuck it, I'm tattooing my face, and then to have it removed and then do it again.
Well, I'm a bodybuilder. I didn't say I was smart, did I? So, but the thing was, living in Australia, we have a lot of Maoris from New Zealand. Yeah. So some would come over that would have an actual tribal tattoos on their face. And then back in the day, I liked, the old gangster movies where they had like a scar across their face and stuff. I thought I could go cut my face and get a good scar and shit. That's how I was thinking. But then I thought, I like the tattoo idea. And I'm thinking, well, I'll get one. But then Tyson went and got his. So I thought, if I get one now, they're going to be like, oh, you want to be like Tyson. So I waited a few years. I got one. Then they said, oh, you're trying to be like Tyson. Yeah. So I had it for like 13, 14 years. I just kept adding to it. And then I just got bored of it, so I had it removed for 4 years. And then that stupid app come out where you could put your photo in and the photo would do stuff. Yeah. And it kept sending me back these photos with different tattoos on my face. And I'm like, well, that looks pretty good. So I might go get another one.
It's actually making me think I should get more on my face just looking at you. It's making me jealous.
I think we should.
When did you guys, Lee, you first. When did you start getting tattoos? When's the first time you got a tattoo?
I was laughing because, you know, Sean Davies, the English bodybuilder, just passed away.
Yeah.
My first tattoo was Sean, myself, and Chris Cormier went into the tattoo shop in Venice, and Chris is like, let's all get tattoos. I'm like, okay, I'll get a Superman logo. That was my first tattoo.
Okay.
Sean Davies got a British bulldog with the English flag behind it. I forget what Chris was going to get. Because there's only 2 chairs available, we started getting ours, and Chris is there. It's like, that's screw these guys. 3 years later, he took off, and Sean and I got tattoos, and Chris didn't get one because he said, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. So that was my first tattoo.
So the Superman one was the first one, obviously relevant because that was kind of like your thing while you were competing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, from a young age, from the age of 4, my mum would make me a Superman suit every year.
Yeah.
And I just had a proper one made. It's sitting over there. Comes with all the custom muscles in it and everything. So I never have to train again. It's like got everything. It's got the quad separation.
So when you got the next ones, so after the first one was a lot easier. And then when you got like the second, third, and fourth, was it like
after the first one, I said I'd never get another one. I'm like, that's it.
Really?
I'll never get another. Yeah, now look.
No, I know, but why did you say that after the first one?
I just didn't think I'd want any more. And then I then I started getting into the racing.
Yeah.
So when I would win a race, I'd get a tattoo just for every time I won a race. So just to symbolize it. I had like a NASCAR tattoo here that I had some put on my back, and then kept going from there. And I just went, oh, I'm going in now. And then I had like when Superman Returns come out and Russell Crowe had that Superman metallic, I mean like all that suit. That's what I got all across my chest and all that down my arm and on my leg. And then I got the Batman and Joker on the leg and the Punisher here and there. And then I had like names here of my grandmother and grandfather. And then I had my name, Lucifer, here, because everyone says, you're the devil. So I put Lucifer on my arm there. And then I was in Vegas and I went to Fit Club. And they had Jay's and my picture on the wall. I said, Jay, you're not even dedicated to this gym. So I went and got the Fit Club logo tattooed. And then Flex goes, where's my gym logo? So then I went and got Flex Lewis's dragon logo tattooed on this one just to keep Flex Lewis happy.
Well, how do I get a hostile tattoo logo on? I got to sponsor you, maybe.
Send some cocaine.
Yeah, send some. Mike,
it's hard to get over there.
Yeah. Mike, how old were you? How old were you got your first tattoo?
I think 16. I got like
I'm sorry, I didn't ask you how old you were. I asked you Lee, how old were you when you got that done?
Well, that was 97, so I would have been 25.
25, and you were 16, Mike.
Yeah.
What was the first one you got?
Just the stupid like little inside piece here. It was like a fucking flash piece on the wall.
Yeah.
So just literally want that.
Oh, so you just went in and picked out you're like, I like that one.
Yeah, I was like, that one looks cool.
Really?
It's like tell me it means something special, even though it means nothing at all.
You know what's weird is I've been thinking about getting my arm finished because I got this tattoo here. And I want to
You've been saying that for how long?
I know, right? I know, but I don't know what to get. And every time I think it has to mean something, but everybody I talk to that has tattoos is like half of them don't mean shit.
Yeah, the idea just pops in your head and you go.
Yeah.
If I could do it all over again, I'd get like, you know, when you see the muscle anatomy chart of all the muscles and sinew, I'd have that tattooed all over me. So even when I'm fat, I look shredded. And then when you are shredded, you look double shredded on stage.
Yeah, even better,
yeah.
So Mike, how did it go? Lee explained how he went forward. How did it go forward after the first one? Did you just you decided after the first one, you're like, fuck it, I'm going in with all of them? Or was it slow progression?
No, it was like a slow build. Like I got like something done around that. And then I got something across my chest onto my back. And then it just like graduated over time to.
But did you know? Did you know in your head that you were like, one day I'm going to be like tatted everywhere?
Yeah. I didn't think head, but I knew like at least sleeved and like back piece for sure.
Yeah. So where is your mindset when you go, you know what? Fuck it, I'm doing my head.
I went there to get my W. I went there to get that like on the other side here, like on my temple, somewhere around here, like small.
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks so stupid. And I was like, just put it on top of my head. And I was like, so he's just like, all right. I'm like, would it look better on top of my head? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I did that, and then
you decided to make it you decided to make it a hairline after that.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. I don't have hair. I'll never have hair again. I'm not like Ian. So
I got one all through here that's hard to see. If I shave my head, you see, but it's all like biomechanical all through that part of my head there. It's so annoying when they're doing the head too. Just like,
Yeah, it's awful.
And then the thing across my eyelid, and I've often gone to tattoo shops with a friend who's getting tattooed, and like Mike, I'll be sitting there just looking at stuff, going, "That looks good. If I add this, add that, I'm next. I want this on me." It'll just be a spare in a moment thing. But the one across my eyelid, my friend was getting tattooed, and he hates it, so he was like complaining.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, "Oh, look, just fuck off." And Lee, what do you want done? I said, "Can you go across my eyelid and just have it come down there?" He's like, "Sure, we can." So he does it. I walk out the room. I come back in, and he's telling my friend, "Oh, Lee's brave doing that." My friends all jealous. "Why is he brave? Why?" He's like, "Oh, you can go blind doing that." I'm like, "What?" I said, "It's not bad." I said, "You didn't tell me that before we started. I could go blind going across."
What's the most painful one you guys have gotten? Lee, you go first, or Mike, you go first. Whoever wants to go first.
The back of my knee.
Yeah, that
and
would
my ribs. I fucking hated that so much.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the ribs. I got the big Archangel Michael here, the sword. I didn't mind that, but for some reason, my fingers and hands, when they were doing that, I'm just sitting like
near the end, near the tips of your fingers, like down low here.
Yeah, and just in here, when they start filling it in. For like 2 days later, my hand was like a boxing mitt, all swollen up and puffy, and it was just.
I was gonna ask too, because the tattoos, Lee, that you have on your hand are shaded really dark, like the other hand especially.
That had a logo of when I was with that company, New Breed. I like their Phoenix logo.
Yeah.
So I had that sort of put on there, and then I have it down on my calf as well. But I actually thought the neck here would have hurt. And before I'm going in, I'm pinching my neck, going, "Oh, it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt." But I was surprised, like the whole throat, that didn't really hurt that bad.
That's the test for people for like tattoo pain. You like scrape where it is, like pinch it, and you're like, "Oh, it's not that bad." And then you're like, "Oh, it's way worse than that."
I always find what's worse is when they go back and then they start doing the white shading after, once you've had the main tattoo done. Then they get that shit and they wipe it really hard.
The worst is the constant wiping.
I
remember I had the tattoo on my back between my shoulder blades, and you know, like up higher, like closer to your neck, you have like a bone there. Yeah. That's where the head is on the guy that they tattooed on my back. And they kept fucking, like you said, they kept shading and then wiping and shading. And I'm like, just finish, just fucking get done. I just need to get the fuck out of this fucking chair. Like, I can't imagine you guys.
Well, my ribs took 7 hours. Towards the end, he's like, "Oh, you're not even making a noise." Like, I just lay there and bob, because you get that at, I think when I was younger too, it's almost like you're training. You know, when you train, if you're doing high reps, the pain, you can sort of block it out and keep going.
Yeah,
I'm the same with tattoos. I can just lay there, forget about it. But the second I just think to myself, "I'm bored of this, I'm tired," the second I think that, every stroke from that point on just feels, it's like once you give in mentally, it's like all over. I'm done.
Do you guys ever take any numbing cream or any numbing, like any drugs?
I tried numbing cream once. Worst idea, because it's like it starts off and we feels the vibration, like, "Oh, this is so cool." But then if it's a long tattoo, as it starts wearing off, your body's like, "Oh, fuck, this hurts." Oh, it hurts even more because your mind hasn't had a chance to, adjust to the pain. So I did the numbing cream once. I thought, you know what, never again. But I think as I get older too, I'm getting softer, because I've had little ones now, and I'm like, "Shit, this hurts." I don't remember hurting this bad when I was in my late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah. I noticed that about everything, man. Everything as you get older is like fucking, you just turn into more of a pussy.
You make sound effects more fun now. So I found the older you get, you just make more sound effects. It's like putting my shoes on. I listen to myself sometimes and go, "Am I making all these noises just putting my fucking shoes on?"
Mike, did you ever use any drugs or any numbing creams or anything like that?
No, I would never do that.
Forget it.
Drugs, no. Drugs,
high every time. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I would never do drugs.
Hey, Lee, I want to ask you. So, how old were you when they finally gave you a pro card? Because I know you're eligible for one before they actually
I just turned 20. Theoretically, I should have been eligible because I won my national title at 17, but they said I was too young. Then I won it again at 18, said I was too young. 19, said I was too young. So then that's when I came to do the Niagara Falls amateur show.
Yeah.
And once they knew I won my national title that many times, then they petitioned. So I think I was just 20, just turned 20.
So the kid that just won, I don't know if you saw him. His name's Anton _SWL. I should probably bring him up so people know what we're talking about. He just turned pro at 19, And I think he said somewhere that he's the youngest pro ever. And I was like, isn't Lee Priest the youngest pro ever?
I don't think I was 20. I think the youngest one before me was, remember Shane Demora? I think Shane Demora was 19.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this guy, Mike, but this is Anton Ratushnai, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway, he's 19 years old, which is pretty fucking wild. He just got his pro card at the Nationals.
Bodybuilding or classic?
No, classic. Sorry, I should.
That don't count. Come on, that don't count. Move on.
What did you say?
Anyway.
Well, I could have won classic at 14. I was joining the men's open at 14.
Okay, I get it. I agree. There's definitely a difference, but listen, I got no affiliation with this kid. I just think it's really impressive.
No, I think it's good. Yeah.
I think it's impressive to see this here. We got to go back to the back shots.
Yeah.
I think it's impressive to see this at 19 years old with this level of
I'm sure all
maturity.
the haters though would do videos saying this is unhealthy at 19. He shouldn't be doing this to his body. What drugs is he taking? He's going to be dead before he's 25.
What drugs is he taking? Good ones.
But Lee, don't you think it's wild to see? We haven't seen like this level of muscle
for a while. I think Nick's been like one of the youngest in a long time. Nick Walker wasn't he when he turned pro? But
yeah, but I don't even
back in the day, most guys were turning pros in their early mid-20s anyway. But now it's like 30s, around 30.
But you don't but we don't see this level of muscle maturity on a 19-year-old usually either. Like this is like pretty grainy. And
I'm impressed by that picture of Tristan Lee that he actually is eating carbs now. He looks fucking huge.
Wasn't that kid
what happened to that kid? He mutated all of a sudden.
Wasn't he
found a carb.
keto for like 10 years or something like
that? Mike's picture of Paul, I got a thing here when I do that confession show on Dave's channel. This is what Paul's picture looks like sitting there. Looks like the Pope.
Just
stop
look,
that! Stop that!
Don't do that.
Not now.
Hey, don't blame me. That's the Catholic Church. Don't blame me.
Listen, I'll get you back on track. Okay, so how far do you think that kid's going to be another Bumstead, or what are we saying here? Is it just like is being a Bumstead more than just a physique?
Well, you got to have the mentality too. It's like you got to have the mentality as well. Like to do bodybuilding, whether it's bodybuilding open or classic, the years of training and dedication you got to put into it. It might be, I know some people who've come into the sport, they've done well for a couple of years, but then they get to the point they're like, I've had enough and venture off. But if he sticks with it, I can't see why he couldn't, be up there in the classics.
I guess the question, I guess the question I'm asking more so is Chris, I just watched Chris part of it. Chris was on Patrick Bet David's podcast. Yeah. I didn't catch all of it, but I watched 10 or 15 minutes of it. Chris is more than just a physique. Like if I guess what I mean when I say is he another Chris, I mean is can he have the personality and the draw and the charisma and are we going to see that again? Because a lot of people compare Chris to Arnold. And I don't think it's just because of the physique. I think there's something about his personality that makes them make that comparison.
And I think with Arnold too, sometimes there are these contests, just Arnold's charisma, even when he wasn't on, when he walked on stage, he held himself in a certain way. People have that aura. You're just drawn to him. So he came out looking like a champion, even though he mightn't have had the best physique on the day. And I think that's what pulled him through some of those contests, just of who he was and how he held himself. And I haven't seen this guy talk or how he speaks or any of his videos, so I'm not sure. But there's certain people just have it where you're drawn to them. They walk into a room and you're automatically drawn to them. I walk into a room and people go, "Oh, there's that cunt Lee Priest." Like Jesus.
Well, I mean, a good one is Sam, who you've been defending for the last 3 months. He's just got he's really you've been like his number one defender for the last 3 or 4 months. I just
couldn't believe that everyone's doing things. I think the guy can't win, because then I had to go with Johnny Bravo and he started abusing me because he's like, and then was it Greg also did one. Sam should tell him what he's taken. By him not telling the kids what he's taken, he's doing them damage. I said, if he did tell him what he's taken, you're not going to believe him. And then it's like, the kid can't win. I said, in not one of Sam's videos that I've seen is Sam saying, kids, do this, do that, eat like me. He's just filming his life. I'm thinking, if I had Instagram when I was a young kid, you would have seen nothing but fried chicken, donuts,
Yeah.
cereal. In my cupboard right now, I've got Fruit Loops, Cocoa Pops, and I'm still eating it. So,
well, the thing is, even if he did tell people what he took, then those same people would make videos and say, "Look, he's promoting steroids."
I know.
So it's like you can't. He really can't win. But I don't think all of those people give a shit about him winning or losing. I think they're like, whatever can get me some clicks. And I know, and I know when I put
new
his
breed
name in,
schmoes. They just want attention from fucking people.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that little PSA you put out, Mike. What is a new breed schmo? Can we touch on that for a minute?
Like that person that you're speaking about, they make their whole existence or their whole channel or their whole persona about talking about someone else.
So it's like they don't have their own shit. They're just talking about
other
people.
just like.
But isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what we're doing right now?
No, we're discussing topics, right? Like your channel isn't dedicated to like, oh, let's bash this dude today.
No,
like
never.
Specifically,
never.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're talking about relevant topics and having a podcast and discussion with people. But like this new breed of people, it's like all of a sudden, like people like you guys talking about Sam, like if he said what he took or he didn't say what he took, he doesn't owe anybody a fucking thing.
No.
Just because he has all these followers, all you guys decided to follow him. He didn't make you follow him. So he doesn't owe you a fucking thing. He doesn't owe you an explanation. He doesn't owe you fucking like dick. So like you guys asking for this or asking for that or demanding this, demanding that, like it's not fucking Spider-Man, bro, where it's like with great whatever comes great responsibility. It's like he doesn't owe you shit.
Yeah.
If he wants to drink chocolate milk and film it, if you don't like it, turn the fucking thing off.
And to this day, I can never still understand the haters' mentalities. Like, I love to get like a hater on, but they're always, their pages on private or they never have a profile picture. In all the times I've been abused, and I even say to them, listen, if you really want to get me, it says I'm going to be at the Arnold Classic Friday to Saturday. It tells you the times I'm going to be at the booth. Come by and see me. In all these years, no one's ever showed up. It's like, but I'm just like, I just don't get. Like, I don't really like tennis. I might watch the finals. I respect what they do. But I'm not going to follow Djokovic and go, you suck, your backhand is pathetic. It's like, if you don't like someone, why do you have this time and energy to follow someone? If you like watching TV going, I hate this show, but I got 400 stations I can choose from, just change the channel.
So I've talked to a number of people about this since signing Sam, and there's a couple different types of people. There are people that are just happy for him. There are people that are learning from him. There are people that are envious of him, but not jealous. So they're like, I wish I could do what he does, but they're not like mad at his success or like hate him for any way for it. And then there's people that are just straight either jealous or they just hate him. So I'm like, I just don't understand the last one. I understand the second last one. I understand being like envious or like, how do I get there? How do I do what he's doing? Like, why is he so popular? Like, I understand the question, but I don't understand the maliciousness that comes with the question from the last group. That's the part I can't figure out. So I don't know.
It's just like people aren't genuinely happy for people anymore. Like when I wrote you about like how you guys had like when Sam did the appearance and I was like, that was fucking awesome. Like I was happy for you. And I've met Sam once, but I was happy for him as well. Like I don't know how you could watch that and be like, fuck this guy. I mean,
well,
like,
the biggest it's even
like, the fucking kid is like, he's like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't even understand like what's happening in the sense that like he knows what's happening, but he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
well, it's it's even more strange when you're a 35-year-old man and you're hating on a 20-year-old kid.
Well, you're never gonna look like the 20-year-old kid, so you're pissed off.
Ian, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Lee?
You see, hello, Ian looks like it's all dark around him. It looks like that old, if you remember back to MTV, Max Headroom. Remember, that's just the head in the screen.
If I put these because they're pot lights, if I put them on, I look like I got a fucking crazy light behind me.
Let me see.
What?
Put the lights on. It's too dark. You can't see your pretty face.
It's a bit much.
That's better. There we go. I can fucking see you. What are you eating? Cereal? Don't eat cereal.
Oh, I'm going crazy with this fucking ice cream maker I have.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. I heard that fucking thing's awesome.
You got to buy one. It's the best thing I ever bought.
Have you guys heard of this thing? It's called the Ninja Creamy or something like that.
Yeah.
My mom had an ice cream maker.
You know what? I was going to say, was gonna say, Lee,
Just gonna go buy it.
Lee's just gonna eat real ice cream. He gotta eat that shit.
Exactly. I'm not going to try and make a healthy alternative.
Yeah, I'm trying to get skinny. If I go eat fucking real ice cream every night, I never lose weight. So I gotta try and.
I forgot.
Like me last week. I was in Italy and I was there for 4 days and put on. I went there at 91 kilos. In 4 days, I was 99 kilos just from all the gelato.
It's rough with this much muscle. Like if I start eating shit, I just never lose weight, and I need to fucking lose weight. So.
Yeah, Ian's trying to. I don't know if you. I know you watch the podcast a little bit, Lee, but Ian's trying to become a sprinter again. So
he's going to be Usain Bolt. I see.
I'm going to be the fattest guy on this fucking podcast soon. Ian's down to like. Are you down to 240 now?
245.
Yeah, definitely get that Tom Cruise run, like Tom Cruise in the movies.
Yeah. So he's down to 240.
I should have mentioned with Tom Cruise. Paul's not here. Sorry,
Yeah.
Paul. Sorry.
What the fuck?
Cover your eyes, Paul.
Oh, fuck him up.
Ian, did you see Paul's here in spirit? Mike brought him on. No, but you're down to 245. Mike, you're down to like 280.
291 today, but that's a low. That's an all-time low.
I can see it in your face. Your face looks leaner.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I gotta fucking.
My diet is right now.
I went yesterday and I bought a couple recumbent bikes. I bought one for the house and one for the gym. So I have fucking zero excuse now. I'm just gonna do hours and hours. I'm gonna be like
you bought the laziest form of cardio.
The worst calorie burning cardio there is.
No, man.
But I just get one of those things you sit on the couch and you pedal while
you do your
hands. You're seeing them for old people.
Listen,
Just get the blood going. Just get the blood going. Keep it pumping. Okay.
If somebody tells you they're not going to do cardio or they're going to do the recumbent bike for an hour, what do you say?
Let's go for a walk.
Nothing but what? You have a treadmill, you have a stair mill, like.
No, I wanted the bike in my house. I don't like the treadmill I have at home. I
want to walk the dog more.
It's fucking
cold out. My wife got me my dogs for cardio. The first week with them, I put on 5 kilos because I'd walk them around the beach. But on the way back, I stop at the kiosk. I get a hamburger and milkshake. I'm thinking, this is useless. I'm putting weight on.
I was going to ask you that, Lee. How do you fucking stay so lean? Because I know you eat shit every day. But you do. But you do
2 hour cardio every day.
But you do like 3 hours of cardio. Is that the secret?
I do still do about 2 hours a day, then other stuff. Yeah, but it's like when you text me, you go, "Is this your number, Lee?" And where was I? Just
Is that McDonald's? Is that McDonald's?
He goes, "That's you."
Because I had your number, but I didn't have it labeled. And I'm like, Lee, is this still your number? And he sends me pictures of McDonald's, and I'm like, yep, it's Lee. I'm like, it's got to be.
I was actually just pulled up when you sent that message.
So how much? So seriously though, how much cardio are you doing every day?
About 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours. 2 hours, I'd say minimum. Then I don't count it as cardio, but I still will walk the dogs or do other stuff and that. But 2 hours of like treadmill type stuff. Yeah.
So you do an hour at a time, or are you doing 2 hours all at once? An hour at a time.
No, hour at a time.
Do you get
bored? Then walking around the food court counts as cardio, doesn't it? So you got
to get your steps in. Yeah.
Sometimes I walk to McDonald's. It's only a few blocks away. I eat, then I walk home. It's like,
Are you? No, seriously though, because I know Mike, you do like an hour of cardio at once too. Do you guys
do an hour on the treadmill and then I walk for an hour at night?
Do you guys get fucking bored when you're on a treadmill for a fucking hour? I'm like,
after like 25, 30 minutes, you get in this like groove and you just walk it.
I go on bro chat and answer stupid questions. You probably notice when I'm more active on answering those questions. That's when I'm on the treadmill.
He must be doing cardio. Yeah.
He's at it again.
How did running go tonight, Ian? Are you back in the groove now since getting your hair done?
2 hours at the track. Got the spikes on today, even. Yeah.
So, are you faster? Are you feeling back in the groove?
Sure, I feel great.
Fuck, I gotta do something. But this jujitsu thing's not going as well as I thought it was gonna go.
You need to come up with merch, Ian. It's got to be like the Valliere Running Club or something. You got to like have a spike and shit. Brain freeze.
Brain freeze.
Children, let this be a lesson. Ice cream is no good for you.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
What were we talking about?
Your track. You got your spikes out. Mike said you should start a merch line, and I said jujitsu's hell.
Well, I think the thing is this is going to be something for you to get good at jiu-jitsu, man. It's going to take you fucking 5 years. Like you can't expect to be like doing good in 2 months, You got to be patient.
I 1000% understand that. I knew I was going to be like a black belt in like 4 months. But
Yeah.
I also didn't understand the level of difficulty. It is fucking hard, man. And it's not only like, it's not that the concepts are hard, like you figure out the concepts and stuff, and then
Cardio.
but the cardio and then applying those concepts with resistance is like, it's like, sure, I can understand how to do how to choke somebody out.
Yeah, but when someone's trying to bite it.
Right now understand how to choke somebody out when they're fighting you.
With a full-grown man trying to resist.
Right. So
it was like when I got into the boxing and that I was watching the film, like, I'm going to start boxing just for fun. And of course, as soon as I put it online, I could knock you out, you suck. It's like, I'm just doing it for fun, for cardio. Then you got all the haters. But I think, I do step mill, I do treadmill on that. I'm cardio fit. Once you started hitting the pads and doing a few spar out, after halfway through the first round, you're like, like, just knock me out, make it, give me a little nap or something, because when I was sparring, these guys were always about 6 foot, and me being a bit shorter stature, half of them were southpaw, so I'm always like, they got their feet spread out wide, so I just have to get in close to them. But just that whole sparring and moving, you think, we say we do cardio as bodybuilders, but compared to boxing and that, it's nothing.
Our cardio, because our cardio is like, my max heart rate's like 145. And my heart rate during jujitsu or any type of like high intensity like circuit is like 180.
Yeah.
I literally threw up, not this last practice, but the one before. I haven't thrown up from a workout in like, I can't remember how long.
Yeah.
We were done.
The first 2 months at the track, like when I'd be wearing my watch, my average heart rate was like 172.
Yeah.
And that's like with breaks, my average was 172. Right. Now it's like my heart rate probably doesn't go much over 145 now.
Yeah. Mike, what's going on with you? You're back into boxing. How often are you going?
2 days a week now. I go hit the pads and move around, and I have 2 bags in my basement too. So I do bag work on another day, and I just leave the pad work just because
How's your shoulder?
It's good. It's amazing. It's like amazing to be able to hold my arm in this tight to my body, because I was always here before. Like, pull your arm in. I'm like, what? Like, it doesn't go there.
I was like, my bad shoulder, my hand would start dropping. He's like, your hand's dropping. I'm like, no, it's not. Then all of a sudden, whack. My hand dropped.
No, it's been good though. It's really nice to get moving again and fucking feel like your body actually is working with you as opposed to against you. So it's nice. Yeah.
How Lee, how long did you box for? Or did you take it seriously, or was it more just for cardio and stuff?
I've been doing about a year and a half. I've had like a month off because I had like slightly torn a tendon in this shoulder. I got to get PRP in it. So
this is all recent. Like this is like in the last year and a half you've been doing boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought there's some you did before.
No, I just got into it because I have a friend who was like a boxing coach, and I didn't want to go to the boxing gyms because I just don't like that. He like you said, here comes a bodybuilder covered in tattoos. He thinks he's tough, does he? Blah, blah. So I go to my friend and we just do one-on-one, and then he'll get some of the boxers to come over just to spar me. So I'm not in the actual boxing gym where people are watching me and stuff. So
yeah.
I just, but I just love the cardio side of it because, like I said, I had one of those my rate heart zone things, and even when I was doing squats and leg press, I might get into 70% zone. When I'm doing boxing, it's always in the 90% red the whole time. It's like
100%. Mike, you've been back at it for how long now? And the shoulder's holding up good? Everything's good?
Yeah, it's feeling really good. Straight shots and throwing out feels amazing. My uppercuts are like slowly coming back because that's like a movement that like me doing this with my shoulders, I haven't been able to do that for a long time. So as long as I'm slow and I'm deliberate about what I'm doing right now, I can't really snap off uppercuts, but I can throw straight rights pretty good. My left's obviously fine. So
are you gonna ramp up the boxing more and maybe do something with it, or is it just for fun?
No, I've always just enjoyed doing it. If I got back to the point where I feel comfortable with my arm moving on like a unplanned, like if I'm like blocking or moving all of a sudden fast and like I'm able to do this reaction stuff without pain as I'm going, then I'll go back to sparring. But I'm in no rush. I'm just happy to be like moving and not be in pain.
What is would sparring ever lead to like an actual competitive match, or you don't have any desire to do that?
I mean, I'm not against it. It's just not something I'm like, it wouldn't be a goal, but if someone wanted to fight, I'll do it.
My coach used to say that to me, Lee, you should do one of these, where it's like an amateur ones. I think you only did 2 or 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. Get someone your own age around 50. I said, that would be fun. But I said, just say he gets a lucky shot in and knocks me out. Someone films it, puts it on the internet.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, but fuck, at least you had the balls to get in there, for fuck's sake. No one has the balls to get
in there, so it's like fuck it.
I always said I'd do a charity one with Sean Ray because he's always talking shit about me that time. I said I'll do a charity one with Sean Ray.
Fuck, that would be awesome.
I thought that too about the about going to the jiu-jitsu gym, Mike, and I thought, here comes this 300-pounder or 250, whatever. They're gonna fucking want to make an example out of me. But I right away from on the first day I walked in there, I'm like, look, I'm shit. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't fucking try and rip my arms off. I have nothing to prove. And then everybody just like
I find like people in gyms like that, like when it comes to fighting or jiu-jitsu, like people have this misconception that like everyone's gonna like have you're gonna have a target on your back, but everyone's like so accepting of each other because like everyone knows everyone's just as insecure. And even if you're like a very good fighter or you're very good at jiu-jitsu, you understand what it means to be where that guy is. So it's like your understanding of it. You don't want to like belittle people and shit. Like this stuff you see in movies where like the new guy walks in, they're like, fuck that guy, teach him a lesson. Like,
no, but I think it's the attitude that you bring with you, because like even my coach, for example, he's told me there's been like bigger guys with like a little bit of experience, maybe they played football or something, they're a little athletic, and they come in and they're like they say they want to learn, but they're trying to like test themselves. So they have like this little bit, they're not really sparring like to learn or rolling to learn. They're like, I want to see if I can beat this brown belt or black belt.
Yeah. The best is when like bullies come in gyms, or they call out someone at a gym and they like, okay, spar this guy. And they just get dismantled. Like it's like they hit him with a body shot and the guy's like,
even when I got into the boxing, my hardest thing was even just learning, to throw more from the hips, because, for 20, 30 years of my life, I stood in one place, doing curls and pressing, not turning at all. When you finally start doing the hips, it's like my abs and, intercostals were so sore when you start learning the twist more with the punches. It feels like you had the worst ab workout ever. But I said, look, you have to go easy. I said, for 20, 30 years, I've stood in one place like this. That's
funny.
That's the nice thing about going to the track is when you're big, it's not like fighting. Everyone expects you to be shit.
They expect you to suck.
Everyone's going to be like, this guy thinks he's good or thinks he's tough. It's like, this guy's going to be fucking slow. So if you're like even remotely good, people are like, holy fuck, this is crazy,
No, the guys, trust me, the guys in jiu-jitsu know you're going to be shit if you're too big.
Yeah.
They just think you might have an attitude if you come in there and you're
but like having an attitude, being a big guy on a track doesn't make you run.
Doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't mean shit. So it's like it's irrelevant there.
Yeah.
It's like I put up a video. I don't know where it is now, but after like a year of hitting the bag and stuff and pads, my coach guy put up a video of me doing it because he said I'm just helping leader. Like, isn't he a bodybuilder? He'll be as slow as anything. And on these pad ones, I'm going pretty quick. Every comment, you've sped that up. You sped that up. That big guy can't move that quick. I'm like,
you fast forwarded it.
I was like, I said, when I was doing it full on for that year, I got quicker and quicker, but no credits to like big guys, muscular arms can't move that fast now. Come on, you've sped it up. I'm like, the tree in the background still blowing like this in the wind. It's like, how do I speed up my boxing, but everything else in the background is still the same
What's funny
speed.
is I think me and Iain are very similar this way, because I remember you were only running for like a month and you're already talking about like when your competition was going to be.
Well, no, I wasn't talking about specific
dates, but you were talking about like, I want to run an exhibition.
Yeah. Well, when I got into it, I set myself like a long-term goal. Like I set like a time goal of like, in X amount of years or time, I want to run this.
Right.
And then I set smaller goals within that. Like within this winter, I'd like to be able to run a 60, and then by next summer, run 100, and like kind of, based goals off that. And I didn't have time goals within the big goal, but like I had, goals of like being fit enough to run a 60 in a meet or 100 in a meet, and then the time goal within years,
Right. I don't, the thing is, I had an original goal was 1 year. So I was like, I want to do a competition in October of 24. But then I got all excited and I'm like, no, I'm going to do one in like February. And now I'm like, fuck.
What happened in January? What happened to the one in January?
Well, the one in January 20th, there's actually a more important one 2 weeks after that. So like my coach was like, you should do the one 2 weeks later. And
I'll warm up on the 20th, man. And then go into
Mike just wants to see me get choked out.
I remember once I was in the UK.
Oh, well, you all pumped up like you fought, and then that night you go to UFC and it's just like building of momentum, man. You know what I mean?
I understand what Fouad means. I was in the UK, and my friend, he did Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and like I said, he got on top of me, and I'm using all my energy to try get out, move around.
Right.
He's just playing me like a cat playing with a mouse, and I'm like, oh, is that puffed and that worn out? He's just like toying with me. I'm thinking, he's half my size, and everything I do, he counteracts and gets me in another hold. I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll just hold him here for a minute, catch my breath, and I'm going to go this way. As soon as I do,
Have you seen Pineapple Express when they tie up the guy and he's like, I'm going to bust out real quick? He's like, oh, okay, I'll tell you.
The guy I rolled with a couple days ago, the last guy, because it was 4 altogether. The last guy was 135 fucking pounds. And I'm like, how's this guy beating me right now? I can't fucking do anything.
Way better cardio.
It's like a test match. They're always one step ahead of you.
Well, the thing is that I'm learning very quickly is it's more about leverage and technique than it has anything to do with muscle.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can watch videos of even like you see Brian Shaw, these guys are getting into this stuff now.
Yeah.
And you know, they can roll with guys that are 180, 200 pounds that'll still destroy them. And these are literally the strongest humans on the planet. I know. These aren't like strong bodybuilders. They're literally guys who dedicate their lives to being the strongest people alive, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it helps you. Like if you got someone of the same weight that wasn't strong at all, clearly Brian would destroy them. But like when you have someone that's trained with better cardio, it's like not even in the discussion, you know?
Yeah. I also didn't, I guess I did realize it, but you don't realize it until you go through it, how important the cardio is. I know every time you watch fighting or you listen to a fighter talk, they talk about conditioning and road work and whatever. But until you experience how helpless you feel, you feel helpless. Guys guys on top of you, he's about to choke you out, and you're so out of breath, you can't even defend yourself. You're like, let
the darkness wash over me.
It's like when you're doing the sparring, you go all out doing the sparring, and you look up, and it's only 2 minutes. You got a minute to go. You got nothing left, and they're still coming at you. That's right. I'm just like, knock me the fuck out.
That's when you pull the time out. Okay, go.
Throw the towel. Somebody.
Anyway, Lee, I wanted to ask you. I saw a couple things about a sponsor or anything like that. Do you want to go over that? Do you want to get into that?
It's like my sponsor I was with. Well, he was always a friend of mine. Went to England. I met him. He was a fan, actually. He got his face tattooed like me back in the day. And he was outspoken and got kicked out of the IFBB for being similar to me. And he started the company up, and I helped him. Not to help him start it, but I was there when put labels on the bottles for him, to mailing them off for him and stuff. And he said, I'd like to sign. He said, no, when the company gets bigger and bigger, we'll talk about it then. So years later, he signed me. I was with him for about 3 or 4 years, and then COVID came along, and being a friend, I couldn't travel. So I said, look, I feel guilty taking your money because you're paying me, but all I can do is internet stuff, and I can't travel and do stuff for you. So that's when I went to Dave for a year with Species, and then I went back to him. And then at the moment, like I said, he has the brand of supplements. He has a vodka range. He has a club he's just opened up in Spain and that as well. And so he's got other things going. He does car giveaways, Bentleys, McLarens. He's talking about Rolexes and stuff. But since September was the last time he paid me. And because when I went to Italy just 2 weeks ago, I was meant to go see him for a couple of weeks to do more content and stuff. So I was texting, hey, we're going to hook up. I'll fly from there to England, or you coming to Spain, because he lives in Spain as well. Never replied. And then somebody asked me. So in my story, I just mentioned he hadn't paid me. Then he replied, take that down. It's making it. I said, well, we had a contract and stuff.
Didn't like the bad press.
Yeah.
We can't have. Well, you're going online saying you're making 12 million, opening up nightclubs and that, but he's also just got into the Hell's Angels. So if he's going down that route, I think, I'm not saying I got friends that are in bikies, they're not all bad, but I think he's just got a different group of friends now, and so it's like.
So are you guys square now, or how does that? Is that? No,
he hasn't spoke to me. He said on the last message, he said he would pay me for like October, November, but he never had. So I just I'm not gonna worry about it. It's a shame though. Like,
that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, it sucks.
So we go back to $20 is $20, people. I'm starting an OnlyFans page.
Yeah, no, that sucks to start something with somebody and then have it not pan out the way you expected to. Was there
kind of bullshit too? Yeah.
What's that, Ian?
With that kind of bullshit, yeah.
Well, it's just like, I'm assuming there was probably a lot of promises made at the start.
Well, I said, even at the start, because we were such good friends, a lot of it was just verbal contracts. Even when the contract ran out, we just kept it going because I considered him more family than, even a sponsor and that, because I never saw him as a sponsor. He was always a friend and that. And he's made a lot of videos where, he's got pretty YouTube famous from all the videos he did with the police in England and stuff, and the police always coming after him and getting locked up and that sort of thing. He'd be filming himself getting arrested. One time, my wife and I went over there. The day we get there, he asked, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Oh, we'll take a little nap and then we'll go to the gym." As soon as I laid down, "Lee, fucking get down here now, start filming." I'm like, "What?" 6 armed cops are coming over his gate. He's like, "You fuckers stay there. Lee, start filming them. They're going to fucking take me away again." So he's fucked with the police that much that they'll fuck with him and just lock him up just for the fuck of it. Just
yeah.
So it's just like that sort of thing. But even, he's always like, we'll be going down a street. Remember this one time where he had the Lamborghini Hurricane. He's got 2 lanes, but 1 lane's blocked off. We're halfway down. The police come with their lights on. He just sits there. I said, "Aaron, should move over." "Fuck them. I was here first." I said, "Aaron, but the police car, they got to get somewhere." "I don't give a fuck. I was here first." So he gets out the Lamborghini. He's on the police window. "Fucking go around me. I ain't fucking moving." I'm just like, no wonder the police just turn off.
You know what sucks about that more so, and I apologize to you, Lee, that it's more than the money. It sucks to lose a friend over something like that.
It is. And like I said, we had so many funny times. And like I said, we just had so many videos where there was a video online where we're driving somewhere and I just made him laugh that much. He almost crashed the car. We had to pull over and he's just laughing nonstop. Then he gets out and he's just throwing up from laughter. He's spewing everywhere. And it's just like, it's one of those friendships where it was really good. But then, like I said, just sort of, I don't know what's going on. I know he's had his issues too and that, but I know his sister went through cancer, going through chemo. My stepdad, he's got like lung, liver, and spinal cancer at the moment. He's going through radiation and chemo and stuff. But it's just like, I thought we had this thing, and then he just, like I said, just wouldn't reply to texts and that. Then when I finally put up that I hadn't been paid, that's when he replied. And like I said, I wish him all the best still, because he's a great guy and he's got his business mind. I just hope he's not being led in different directions by different people. Where
Yeah. Well, it's too bad, man. I'm sorry to hear. Moving on to something a little bit more positive, Iain. What are you getting Melissa for Christmas? Because you just bought her something special for her birthday. So does that suck for you? You got to like pony up a bunch of cash again, or what?
Listen, babe, your birthday kind of set us back.
My wife.
How do you feel about dinner?
Christmas, and then my wife's birthday's on January 1st, so I got Christmas and my wife's birthday.
Yeah.
I said, you get one gift. Pick which one do you want, Christmas or birthday?
December is like, I have December 6th is Melissa's birthday, and then my mom's is the 19th, and then Christmas. So it's like I have all of those, like,
You just save up all your money for December and then spend it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When you guys do Christmas, do you guys do like is it more reserved, like, hey, no gifts over $100, or is it like,
well, we do with Melissa's family, we do like a secret Santa, like with like Chris, Courtney, Melissa's parents, and me and Melissa will do like where we like do it the fucking app and like just do it, and you get a random person pulled, and we keep it to like, I think it's $200 or $100 or something like that.
That's good. Yeah.
So that I'll get Melissa a little something else other than that, but yeah.
You're like, sorry, Melissa, I didn't pick you this year.
Yeah. Get what you get.
The rules. I can't break the rules, man.
Her mom gets her like a pair of pajamas. I'm like, that's what you get for, the draw. Sorry,
What is Christmas a big deal around the house? Like, does she decorate everything and like make a huge dinner?
Well, I showed you, like, we had the tree and the big lights lights in our front yard and backyard, and like, but we have Melissa's parents are actually coming to my mom's house for Christmas dinner this year, which I don't know if we've done before. So we'll have her parents with my mom's side. Okay. So that'll be a pretty big Christmas dinner. There'll probably be like 10 or 15 of us. Chris and Courtney get back here on the 26th. Okay. So they're doing Christmas in Chicago with Courtney's family, and then they come here after, and then we'll do Christmas on New Year's Eve, like I told you, with them. Yeah.
I saw Chris on Patrick Bet David's podcast today. He gave you a lot of props, man.
Did he? I didn't watch it.
It's like, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched like the first 10.
Oh, so the actual episode's up already?
Yeah.
So I just saw the story that they were there and filming, but I didn't know the turnaround was that fast.
He pretty much credits his entire beginning and obviously first 3 Olympias to you. And
well, you should. I mean, clearly.
I know, but listen, no. Listen, like, obviously I know that, and everybody in the industry knows that. It was weird to hear him kind of say it. It was kind of like cool. Yeah. The way he like gave you credit for all that. So I thought it was nice.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. Lee, I didn't know you have a daughter. You have a son and a daughter, right?
No, I only have a daughter.
I thought you had a son. Who are you posting about? Were you posting about some kid other than Sam?
No, just
No?
Sam.
Oh, I thought you had. I thought I saw something. I'm like, does he have a son?
Do you want me to be Sam's father?
Sam
now?
is actually my son.
Why do you think his genetics are so good? That time I was visiting over there.
What's
No, I only got a daughter. I'll probably see her at Christmas, but you know, Christmas we don't do much. It's Christmas and Mother's Day. You know, I've told you before how my wife's father murdered her mother, so at this time of year is not really the best. So she doesn't.
Sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that
really
story.
Celebrate it. So.
I don't know how I forgot about that story, but I apologize. But yeah, that sucks.
No, it's okay. No, but I still go see my mum and that, but you know, my wife doesn't like to get involved just because it brings up all the stuff like that. So
you just leave your wife at home. You're like, I'm going to have Christmas. Sorry.
I'll just quickly go visit mum and that and stay. But you know, my wife likes tequila, so she'll be a bottle into that by the time I get back.
Yeah. Okay. What about your daughter? Does she go to your mom's too?
Sometimes she will, but she was going to join the police force, but she fractured a hip. So lately, while she was recovering from that, she went on. She does the 000 calls now, like an emergency call center and stuff. And
okay.
She was there. She took the first phone call from this big party bus at a wedding, tipped over, and 12 people got killed and all decapitated and that. And she says that the job's hard because, you know, being on the phone, you're trying to save lives, talk for somebody through saving someone. I said, yeah, but if you had to become a police officer, you would have to actually turn up to the scene.
Be there. Yeah.
Seeing it would be a lot, even though hearing it's bad, seeing it would be just as bad. But well, it depends. I'm not sure what her working hours are at the moment over Christmas or whatever.
So do you and your wife exchange gifts at all, or not even? You don't do any of that either?
I always liked it, but she always doesn't like me buying gifts and stuff. I used to always buy her flowers, and she doesn't like flowers because she says they die after a couple of days. So it's pretty. If I just
she's not wrong.
Bottles, if I come home with a couple of bottles of tequila, she's happy. Yeah. She lights up. It's like I found a nice special bottle when I was coming back from Italy of tequila and stuff, and she was very happy. That was the best gift I could give her. But yeah, I buy her stuff like that. But she's never been materialistic. You know, I think I'd buy her something nice, and she'd be like, why'd you buy me that? You know, it's like this and that, because I got 6 cats and 2 dogs and she loves the animals. She goes, the money you spent on that, we could have brought more cat towers and we could have brought more of this. So
hey, you know what?
Spend the money on the animals.
I got a specific question I want to ask you. So a friend of mine has a couple kids, not Paul, a different friend, has a couple kids. And I said something to him about my dog one time, and he was like, you only love your dog that much because you don't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's interesting. I'm like, I wonder if that guy's right. So I want to ask you, because you have dogs and you have kids. Well, 1 kid. Do you love your animals any less because you have a daughter?
No, because if you've got an animal, you raise it, you know, from a puppy or kitten or whatever. I've got a couple of adopted ones that I got that were older because, you know, no one wants to adopt the older ones, so I go and get them as well. But I think it's one of those things your kid some days can love you and hate you. Some days, Dad, you're the biggest dickhead, and other days, you know, they love you. Whereas no matter what day, your dog or your cat always want to come and sit there. They love you. You could have the worst day, your animal's happy to see you. You're having the worst day and you come home, your daughter's like, oh, you probably fucking deserved it. So animals are much better than people, I say.
I never thought of it that way. That's a good way to put it. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure I understand what he's saying. Like, obviously you're going to care for your child more than an animal, but I just wondered how that felt.
But I don't know what you're like, but I can watch videos on YouTube where you see, like, you know, someone shoots a guy over a car or someone does this. Like, when I see humans killing each other, I'm like, dickheads. I couldn't care less.
Someone kill an animal.
As soon as I see animal cruelty, I'm like, I'll kill that fucker. It gets me so angry. But seeing humans kill each other, I'm like, I don't care. But abuse to animals, that gets me so angry.
When I see those like deserted dogs and shit that are like really bony and skinny, like it fucks me right up. Yeah.
Say in a movie, if you're watching like one of those fucking movies, like a war movie or something, and like people will be dying left, right, and center, one dog will die, and you're like, what the fuck? Turn this shit off. I don't want to watch this shit.
That movie War Horse or something. Or
exactly. The horses. You can watch
that movie. What's that one, Hitachi? That true story about I got the key to dog because of that movie, Hitachi. Is it Hitachi where he'd always go and wait for his owner at the train station, and his owner died. but he'd still go there every day. And they've actually got a bronze statue of the dog there. The dog actually kept going there till it died. And
is that a real story?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go on. You had a dog that was.
I went and brought one of those dogs because I loved it, and this dog had a beautiful Akita. But sadly, when I broke up with the ex-wife, I had to move, so I was staying in a place where I couldn't have him. So my friends was looking after him for me, and in their backyard one day, brown snake come along, bit the dog. They're like, "Oh shit, Lee, brown snakes bit the dog. It's at the vet," you know. But they got it on the IVs and everything for it. We saved it, but then during the night, it just went downhill. Just blood started coming out of its nose, and it passed away from a brown snake. So
that's a
fucking Australia with these crazy ass snakes.
I know, right?
Spiders, everything.
What have you always had? I don't want to say violent. Have you always had more aggressive dogs? Because I know you got 2 pits right now, right? Lee, I'm talking to you.
Oh, you're talking to Mike. Yeah. I got 2 American staffies. Yeah. He's like 72 kilos, and she's like 65 kilos, and
yeah. But you had an Akita, which is also considered an aggressive breed.
Yeah. But I've had little dogs too. Originally, I wanted just the little dog, just because they're easier to handle. Like 6 months ago, when I slightly tore this, I was walking him because I had him on just this arm.
Yeah.
I'm just walking through the park. I go on the other side of the park. His dog's just getting excited. And he's like, "Oh, my dog gets excited when it sees other dogs." So he lets it off the leash. It comes running for mine. So I got these 2 heavy dogs. They just go whack like that. And my shoulder goes, "Oh, fuck." I can tell it just tore a bit. So I'm trying to hold my arm like this so it doesn't pull all the way out. I'm holding 2 dogs. I got my knees dug in the ground. He walks over. He puts his dog on the leash. He looks at me and goes, "That's your exercise for the day, mate," and walked off. I'm just like,
"Oh my
God, clip mine, or I'll give you some exercise." But that's the thing. If I had done anything to my dogs, would have been the bad ones. So it was like,
yeah.
And then I come home to my wife and said, "Thanks for those 2 little dogs you got me." It's like,
Mike, you got 3 dogs.
Yeah.
Are you trying
All
to have
sizes?
I'm gonna whisper this because I don't want it to get. Oh no, you're wearing headphones anyway.
Yeah.
Are you trying to have any kids? Eventually. No, I don't mean like
she can still watch this whether you whispered or not.
She's not gonna watch this. Look, we're an hour in. She's not gonna go. She's probably trying to
speed through that.
We're past that. We passed that. We crossed that bridge. We're good. It's done.
What do you mean?
It's not rehash. There was a moment there where there was like a very strong desire for that to happen, and it kind of washed over and went away. So it's
really. So me and you are gonna be the kidless parent. Yeah,
I'm gonna have like 20 fucking dogs.
Yeah.
No, I might wait till like you guys have kids that are like 6 and then just adopt a 6-year-old and be like,
yeah,
our kids can
put a full grown one. Just skip that beginning part.
Yeah. one that can mow the lawn and wash the car and do all the chores.
Yeah. Just put
a laborer. Laborer.
No, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's something. I mean, Lee, you have your own daughter, so I don't know if you ever considered adopting. Mike, I don't know if you care to go that route. I'm still considering it, but I don't even think it's a good idea now because I'm 45 and I'm like, what if I die at 55? I mean, it's this like fucking baby that's like 10 years old and then I die. And then I'm like, I've done this thing a disservice.
You should grab a 20-year-old.
Yeah, sure. That way I could like get 5 years.
You guys can hang out already. He might know how to ride a bike already, so you can like.
I'm just really just adopting a friend. I'm like,
just go and find like a cool kid at the Tim Hortons drive-through. Be like, "You got a dad? You know how to ride a bike?"
Do I get free food?
No, but I'm fucking serious. Have you guys? I don't know if you've ever thought of that. Like, I'm 45. I don't know. Nobody knows how long they're gonna fucking live. I'm like, if I adopted a baby, I'm like,
kids. Like when the girl who I was with at the time, I was only 19. We had just broken up, and I was getting ready to go to America when I found out she was pregnant. I'm like, "Well, I'm going to America. I'm not going to be here." She was like,
"I'm really going to America now."
Yeah, but she was like,
tomorrow.
I wanted to have a kid anyway, whether it was you or somebody else. So there was never that sort of thing there. And I saw her when she was a baby, but then we didn't really meet until she was about 13 years old.
Really?
Was when I first sort of met her. Yeah. So, but yes, I've never. My sister loves kids, and she's got 3 of her own. But I'm that type of person where I hear a kid crying. I'm like, I'll put a plastic bag over its head. I can't. I've never had that maternal instinct. It's just like my sister has, But me, it's like, oh no, I just couldn't. No.
So do you and your daughter have a good relationship now, though?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, really good.
Was it really shit when you first met?
It was different because I sort of came out to do a contest.
Yeah.
And I come over here when we sort of first met. And before then, a mother sort of resented me. So she'd put up pictures of me and then the mother would take them down and stuff like that and things like that. So then it was, yeah, she was pretty. I said, we got a good as friends. So it was different at first. And then I did think weird, thinking, would she resent me because I wasn't around? But for like almost 7 years, when I was waiting for my green card back then, I couldn't leave America. Otherwise, they class it as deportation, even though if you left voluntarily and stuff like that. So, and then I wanted her to come over early, but her mother wouldn't let her come visit me earlier. So that's why it sort of took so long. Yeah.
So she knew Lee was like the cool guy, the icon bodybuilder. Like, did she see you that way?
She knew her dad was the fucking idiot type thing. Yeah, that people would tell her about. So yeah.
No, seriously. Did she see you as like the icon Lee Priest, or did she just like were you just a regular dude?
Saw me as normal dad when we first met. You know, because when I first come over is when I think I won the Australian Pro shows when we sort of first met, or I was guest posing somewhere, and we sort of just hit it off then. And it's almost like you're just meeting someone for the first time and you're becoming friends and learning what they're about. But then she knew a lot more about me because she'd have friends at school that followed bodybuilding and, I see your dad, this and that. So she'd hear more stuff that way and that. So, and then she'd hear, you hear what your dad said on this podcast? And she's like, yeah, that's my dad. So I was like,
Does she have your genetics for eating? Like, yes, did you know she was your daughter? Like, did you go to McDonald's together and be like, yeah, that's my daughter?
She loves ice cream. She loves pancakes. She loves like she competed a few times and got a pro card in the fitnessy type stuff. Yeah. If you go on her Instagram page, you can see she used to compete and stuff and that. So yeah, but then I said she was smarter than me because she did it for a couple of years and then stopped. So it was like, she went and got a real job. So
do you think that, hey Mike, do you think that shit is like inherent? Like, does that pass down, like that shit eating vibe? Like
she loves
the shit eating gene of like McDonald's and Crustables, and like, if you had a kid, do you think that would just automatically go to that kid?
Hey, don't say that about Uncrustables, man. I don't know why you're doing that. I'm trying to get a sponsorship here, man. I don't know why you keep badmouthing this.
I'm saying it's a wonderful food. It's a wonderful snack. I
look at my daughter's stories over the weekend. That when she's at work, even she'll be sitting at the call center desk and she'll have this huge ice cream. On the weekend, she'll have a plate full of pancakes and ice cream. We go out places, and if I eat a lot of the one thing, I get bored of it. I like little pieces of stuff.
Yeah.
She should out-eat me when it comes to pancakes and ice cream, and she's like so thin, but yet she just keeps putting all the junk food away. And she's like, oh, Dad, I'm sick. Why'd you let me eat all that? I'm like,
all right. I want... Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
That sounds like you.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting along.
You're like, oh, why'd I do that?
Lee, I want to get into some bodybuilding stuff while I got you on here. What do you think of Neckzilla? What do you think of his debut? What do you think of his future? Kind of, what's your opinion on that?
I think, it's going to be interesting to see. He looks a little bit like would you say Victor Richards type thing back in the day, where Victor Richards always had that, or he's got that thickness of Nimrod King or Phil Hill back in the day. So it'll be interesting to see when he actually, gets in tougher lineups and stuff. And, I still think, he hasn't got that, even though he's got all that thick, dense muscle, he doesn't really have that maturity look to it yet. So I think when that comes along, I think he's going to have a bright future. But then, like I said, he's so thick and muscular now. If he adds more, does he get blockier, or does he, it's going to be, time will tell. But right now, I think he looks pretty good. So
what faults do you see him having, if any, other than the muscle maturity? Because he is a younger guy, so I think the maturity may come.
I don't really see that many, because I look at him, but I'm not one of those people that really sit there and go, his lats are too high right now, he's got to do this. It's like, I just look overall, and overall, I'm impressed with how he looks right now. So I think just going to sit back, wait and see what he does. And, like I said, what contest he goes into next and stuff. But like I said, I can't see if he keeps his head screwed on right and does it properly. I can see he can only be going upwards. But, in this sport, anything can happen. So it's like,
Do you see him in the top 10 at the Olympia next year? Like, do you think that's the kind of rise he's going to have, or do you think it's a longer?
Maybe it's hard to say next year, because there's so many good guys that are coming up and condition wise and have that muscle maturity. But I'd say within like 2 to 3 years, I think he could probably crack the top 10.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see him at the New York Pro, because he's doing New York, right?
Okay.
There was somebody else that was really good that was doing New York too. Do you know who else it was or no?
There's a lot of good guys doing New York.
Who do you have on the list so far? Do you know?
Let me see 1 second.
Doesn't the Arnold list come out in a day or so? Is that
Arnold list comes out tomorrow.
okay?
So I'm excited. I want to see if James. I'm really excited for James because I know James really wants to do Columbus.
James looks like he's put on a lot of good quality muscle over the time he's had off. And,
yeah, I think the year has been good for him.
I think if he comes in with the condition, comes in normally and keep that size. I think James could be like a dark horse and surprise a lot of people.
I think James can surprise a lot. He's a very.
Brandow is doing New York.
That was it. Somebody asked me if they thought
I think Tonio's doing New York as well.
Somebody specifically asked me about that matchup. If I thought Rubiel could beat Rafael.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think I'm not positive on this, so I'm not sure. But for some reason, I remember Quinton saying he was coming back to do New York.
I honestly don't know if Rubiel beats both of them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, he stacked up well with. I thought he beat Crizzo at that show, so it's tough to say. And Crizzo was a 7th place at the Olympia, you know.
Well, I think Crizzo beat him on conditioning, which I think Rafael will as well.
Yeah,
and Rafael's also going to be more balanced.
I also think that I think that Rubiel can get in shape, and I don't think he's one of those guys that's going to be like a career of like always like can't quite hit it. I think he is a guy that can. I don't see him with that like thick skin like that. I see when he's the conditioning can get there. And I think that's one of the things that's easiest to improve that could make his physique markedly improve. So I think for New York, if he's in better condition, which I think is possible, he could beat those guys. But it's tough to say.
Lee, do you think Rafael can beat Rubiel?
It's hard to say. It's like, if you look at Instagram pictures, everyone's a winner until you actually see him on the stage. Like, how many times did I look at Dennis James back in the day and think this guy should win the Olympia? And then the day to show, you're like, what happened? It's like, it's just like, so many times until they get up there, it's going to be hard, because, like I said, there are different types of physiques and shapes, and until you get on, that's why I always say predictions are fun, but until the day of the show, we're all just guessing really on which way it could go. I know New York sometimes in the old days when we did, they used to like the mass guys a bit more back then, but whether that's changed now, so different shows.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. They upped the prize money quite a bit there to see.
I was just going to say to Lee, especially because it's been something you've been going on about for decades. They finally bumped it to 20 grand.
Yeah,
well, that's right. Lee Priest is making a comeback to New York next year.
No, but that's pretty good because now we have. I think Prague. No, Prague was 10 grand. There's another show. So our Detroit show is supposed to be 20 grand first prize.
Yeah.
And now you have New York as a 20 grand first prize. So I think if this slowly starts to catch. I mean, it's a good thing for bodybuilding.
I was talking to Dave today. I was saying, I wish we just had somebody in this sport, like a Jerry Maguire, just someone that would kick down doors and go after bigger sponsors. More like, you watch ESPN or this thing. Is there anything that Red Bull doesn't sponsor? They sponsor some of the craziest, stupidest sports. I'm thinking, why isn't there someone kicking down doors for bodybuilders?
I just don't think as crazy as like the X Games is. I just think steroids is a different animal.
Yeah, but even like like most other sports, football, we know steroids used in pretty much every pro sport. I think we should
believe it's not.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not visible, and I bet you the average.
We shoot ourselves in the foot because we talk about it a lot more than any other sport. The NFL player's not going to talk about what he takes.
No, but I don't think we're shooting ourselves in the foot because I don't think anybody. I think everybody already knows we're doing it. And I think when we talk about it, like when I heard Chris talk about it today on PBD, I was like, you know what? That's kind of good because it almost like dispels the myth a little bit and makes it less taboo.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that too. Like if he talks about, even if we had somebody like Joe Rogan talk about it more and they got rid of all, because normally when people hear steroids, they always hear roid rage. It's always these negative things that a general public thinks. Steroids, you become roid rage. I always said if there's such thing as roid rage, nearly every gym would be like a UFC fight every night because the amount of guys that are taking it, it's like the only time I saw guys get angry the most was when they were dieting for contests, and it was because of the diet, not the roids.
I think I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't feel an extra level of aggression when I was on steroids, but I think the way they make it seem is you're just going to fucking go ape shit. And I think that's a little bit.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like you could not be on roids. You could just be a 240-pound guy, muscular, someone cuts you off, you get out the car. Oh, look, roid rage.
Yeah.
120 pound guy gets out the car and he's just an angry man. But if you've got a bit of muscle, roid rage.
But as soon as someone says you have roid rage, it makes you even angrier.
Yeah.
Are you roid raging? Fuck not.
I've been clean for 6 months. What the fuck?
Well, it's kind of like the pit bull or the chihuahua. The chihuahua is going to bite you 8 times out of 10, but it's not going to do anything. And the pit bull bites you and it tears your fucking arm off. It's because it's a pit bull. It's like, so yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's a good thing that the sports are the contests maybe are starting to increase prize money. I think it's a good thing that people like Chris, who's well spoken and well respected, is talking about PEDs a little bit, maybe to make it more, you know, part of everyday life, so that sponsors like Ford or fucking Red Bull or like all these can maybe get into this.
Imagine like someone like Chris, a classic physique guy, or whoever, doing, you know, Ford, here you go, Ford Camaro, you know, all these American muscle cars that you could use different adverts for these guys in them, when, you know, could spin off into. I remember Mr. Clean was a muscular board head guy back in the day. Like I said, there's different ways you could do it, but like I said, we just have that little bit of negativity stigma tied to us that I think people go, well, we don't want to touch that. But
it's
maybe
funny.
if you put on a dress and lipstick and a bodybuilder,
then it'll be okay.
You'd probably get a bit different because they wouldn't want to say no to you. They don't want to upset the apple cart.
It's funny you said that though, Lee, because they use bodybuilders in their imagery and advertising. Because I did a Ford Tough commercial, like a Canadian National commercial. I don't know, way back. It was like 28 or 30. I don't remember. And they showed the bodybuilder. They showed me like doing cable crossover or something, and they're like Ford Tough, and they show the truck and all that shit. But I think sponsoring a show is like, then they're saying we support this. So it's like, it's different. They can't like, I think it might be like a bridge too far. We got to try and get them.
I think they've just got to say, if it can be accepted more and more people can talk about it in a positive light, because look at every cartoon these days or action figure you get, they were muscular. You go into a store sometimes when you're competing and a little kid will be looking at you like He-Man's come to life right in front of him, like, there's the Incredible Hulk, Dad, look at this. I remember once I was going to get ready for a show, and this little kid was just staring at me like, Dad, look at that. Muscles. Like, this kid was in awe of just like an action figure. And this is what his dad, he turned to his son and goes, that's steroids, son. And I'm like, I'm thinking, the kid's 6 years old, he wouldn't even know what steroids are. Rather than say, you know, if you eat all your food and, you know, don't eat cereal, they get in trouble. But you know what I mean? You just encourage your kid to do whatever. No,
it's crazy how much more exposed kids are to this shit now, too. Because I remember one of the first weeks I was back at the track, there was like a group of kids, like a children's group that was there running stuff. This kid must have been 10. And I'm there, like, I'm wearing like a sleeveless thing. This guy looks at me, he's like, holy fuck, like, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't even believe it. He's like, you take steroids? I'm like, dude, you're how the fuck old are you that you even know what the fuck steroids are? Get off fucking TikTok, man. You're fucking polluting your brain, you know?
Yeah, fuck. I don't know,
like,
man.
He's like, oh, you're bodybuilding. He's like, you must take steroids. I'm like, he's 9. He's 9 years old. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, fuck. I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna draw new sponsorships from. But I'd like to see the rest of the shows get, you know, bigger, better prize money. Lee, what do you think about?
I wonder how they had the WWF and WWE do, because, you know, back then, you know, when the British Bulldogs and the Bumblebees and Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful.
It wasn't.
Like, we all know they took gear, but you know,
I think in that time, Lee, the public didn't know too much about steroids. Because back then, even Arnold still said he didn't do it.
Yeah,
I think it became more popular after that, and then the WWE actually started testing their athletes, or said so anyway. So then you saw a lot of the WWE athletes get smaller and like they weren't as shredded and shit. So I think
those wrestlers still get the crowds, and we know it's sort of acting and they're wrestling and they're muscular, but they still get big crowds and sponsors that are out there, and people still know they're still using a bit of PEDs and stuff. So
I think bodybuilding, man, it's just such a freaky thing that it's like it's just so visible. And it's also one of those things that you can't do it without it. Like nobody on the Olympia stage could say, I did this naturally.
Yeah.
Like nobody would believe them. So it's like you have to either, if you're going to sponsor the show, that means you have to be okay with saying that we support this.
It's also like the showcase of steroids in the sense that you're literally just visually seeing a physique.
Yeah.
It's not like a sport where you're seeing like these two massive guys smash into each other and their will and their like desire comes into play as why they're better than the other. Like this is just like, this guy took more drugs and this guy's big. Like, you know what I mean? that's what the average person thinks, right? They're like, oh, that guy does more steroids, this guy does less. Like
that's what they can make it interesting. If there's a bodybuilder show and there's a tie, they put a cage on the stage and you
fight to the death. It's like Squid Games, the finale.
Do you think, Lee, so I'm happy that the Olympia went to $400,000 and the Arnold is $300,000. So obviously the prize money is going up. But do you think it still sucks for fifth to 15th because they're getting like $5,000 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it does. Like I said, back in the day when I gave Wayne that letter and everyone got $2,000 from that day, even back then goes, well, it's $2,000. I said, well, at least it's better than nothing. You got $2,000. You can take your wife out for a nice dinner or something. After the show, it's something. But it hasn't gone up a lot, especially when who's that baseballer the other day signed for $700 million or something? Like,
well, I mean, look, we're not in these kind of major league sports, so I don't expect millions. But I guess what I'm saying is it better to have a $400,000 prize and then nothing at the back end, or is it better to have a $300,000 prize and then 10 or 15 grand for all of the guys from like 6 to 15?
I prefer to see 300 and more spread down to the guys at the bottom too, because the guys at the bottom train just as hard. You know what it's like. You can miss and hit your peak, or something can go wrong, and you could have been in the top 10, and now you're out of the top 10 just due to a mishap or something. And going home with 10 grand would still be nice, rather than $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000.
It's funny. PBD said something to Chris today that I thought was interesting. He said, if I was your manager, he was basically implying this. Basically said, if I was your manager, I wouldn't let you do the Olympia because it's only paying you $50,000 to win. Do you think, let's say, Ian, you're your brother's manager or brother-in-law's manager, and you say to Chris, you know what? You're not doing Olympia unless they pay you more money. Do you think the fans would support that, or do you think the fans would be upset by him doing that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand both sides of the coin, but I also think for guys at the Olympia level, like especially like a guy like Chris and a lot of these other guys, they're competing for the accolade, not for the money. Like these guys are like, let's be serious. Urs, Ramon, Chris, these guys are making astronomical money on their contracts. Like Ramon, Urs, these guys in their countries are making like fucking $50,000 a month. You know what I mean? It's like more than that, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month. These guys are making, it's crazy,
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I understand that obviously prize money is important to a regard, but I think then if you start saying like, well, I'm not going to compete because, we're not getting paid enough in this division, I think that it sets a bad tone to your fans that it's only for the money for you, which I don't think even if it is, but I think that's really at the end of the day, what you're trying to walk away is Chris, you're trying to walk away with the accolades. So I don't know. I mean, maybe if you set the standard at one point being like, I'm not doing it, I'm the biggest guy in this industry, I'm going to take a stand on this, maybe then they'll come around to it. But then you're also missing opportunities just to win titles. And like, that's not where you're making your money anyways. Okay, let's be serious. If Chris won $300,000 at the Olympia, he's making that in a fucking Tuesday.
Okay, wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Let me throw a caveat at you. So I'll use Conor McGregor as an example. Maybe your legacy is not the greatest Olympia winner of all time. Maybe your legacy is, after I was done, all these motherfuckers started getting paid.
Sure.
Because that's the Conor McGregor effect, right? After Conor McGregor, you start to see more guys get a little bit more than they were before Conor McGregor.
I tried that and got 6 suspensions, paid 17,000 fines. It doesn't work because bodybuilders won't stick together.
No, but they don't have to.
I also think.
But this is the thing.
Let me just say.
Wait. But this is the thing, Lee. Chris is big enough that they wouldn't all have to stick together. They would just be like, look, this is what I want. This is what I want for the sport. I'm not doing it for myself.
But then you'll have some go, oh, Chris isn't in it now. He's out. I can win. I can become the champion. Yeah,
it's not going to do anything. And the thing is too, like, and I think people like Patrick say this because they are just not informed about the sport.
Right.
Classic Physique has been around for fucking 6 years. Like the Men's Open has been around for 50 fucking years. And if you look back to like, even when Lee was competing, There was years where the men's open first place was only $100,000. It's already $400,000 now. You know, so I mean, there is improvement. When Chris won his first Olympia, he won 20 or 30,000. Now he won 50. There is progression happening there. People are just being like, the men's open gets 400. Chris is the most popular guy. Well, I hate to break it to you though, Chris, as being the most popular guy, does not sell the most tickets. The kids that follow Chris are 18 years old and don't follow bodybuilding. They don't pay to fly to Vegas or fly to Orlando and go to the Olympia and buy tickets. That's like the hardcore bodybuilding fans.
Well, I think
the open fans. These are the guys that are like going to the Olympia, going to the Expo, going every year, doing this as like a serious trip. These aren't 18-year-old kids buying Gymshark and Alpha Elite that are going to the Olympia. Like, you know, that's like the hardcore bodybuilding fan case that watches the men's open. And if you go sit in the Olympia crowd, you can see that right away. Like, it is meant, because it's an indicative too, because if you watch men's prejudging on the Friday night where there's no classic physique, it's a full house. If you watch classic physique prejudging at the Expo, it's not even full, you know? So I think people don't understand. They'll be like, Chris has 20 million Instagram followers. It's like, yes, but these people are fans of Chris. They're not fans of bodybuilding, and they're not buying Olympia tickets and making that division more money, you know?
Well, it's like I said, it's like, and I don't know if you were on the podcast with Urs, but Urs was saying pretty much echoing pretty much the same sentiment that classic fans are more fans of the personalities and not the competition.
Yes. Yeah, because let's be serious, a lot of these guys, if you see 99% of Chris's followers, other than maybe knowing those big guys that are on social media like Urs and Ramon, they don't know who's coming 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. They don't know who Derek Lunsford is. They don't know who Samson Dowda is. These guys don't know bodybuilding. They're fans of the personalities. They watch their YouTube. They watch them train. They follow their workouts. They like their stuff. They buy their supplements. You know, these are casual fans of personalities and of social media stars and of YouTube stars. They're not bodybuilding fans. There's a big difference, you know? And the guys that are bodybuilding fans are the ones that are paying to go to shows, you know? And like, look, I've been to the last 10 Olympias. I know that classic physique is not it is a big ticket seller and it's getting bigger, but it's not the men's open. And there is a reason there's a discrepancy in pay between, one, because of time. Men's open has been around for 60 years. Classic physique has been around for 6. So we have 10 times, and if you even do that money, 10 times as long as it's been around, it's making more than 500,000 to 50. It's less than 10 times as much, you know, 450. It's only 8-9 times as much, you know? So, I mean, you give it another 20, 30 years, maybe the classic guys will be making $250,000, $500,000. We don't fucking know, but people are expecting to see that in like 5 years. It's like, yeah, they see that because they see Chris and Urs and Ramon. They're like, these guys should be getting paid more. It's like, that's not how it works. I'm sorry, you know?
So my biggest question is not necessarily, I mean, I'd like the small shows to try and pay more if they can. Because I think that's important, because I don't think 10 grand is enough.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think 10 grand's enough because they were paying guys 10 grand in 1999. So like, I think that's ridiculous. And I think at the big shows from the Arnold and the Olympia, they have started to increase pay. And I don't see a problem with that. I don't think
the only issue
guys or bikini should be making $250,000 yet. I just don't think their numbers are there. But do I think that the regular shows should be paying more? Yeah, but it's also, it's every promoter's prerogative to do that. So
there's two issues. I just want to bring up one side on the promoter side. In 99, they were paying 10 grand, and now they're paying 10 grand. But I almost feel like more companies sponsored shows back then. Of
course.
So it's almost a little harder to get, and there's more classes. So it's like, sure, I'm still paying 10 grand to the winner, but I have 5 classes now.
Whereas, maybe more.
Whereas in 99, you only had 2 classes. You had bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding, and that was it. Maybe fitness.
Sure.
So
I agree.
There's some caveats. My main thing is this: first place 400, 15th place is 5,000. So I'm like, should there be a little bit more spread to the back?
Look, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I can, like before, I see both sides to it. I always do think that you should reward the champions the heaviest,
of course.
And I think if you look at a lot of sports, the guys that aren't winning, like if you're doing like in running or certain things, you're not getting paid to come 8th at the Olympics. You know what I mean? Right. Like you're getting paid to fucking win medals, you know? Yeah. So like, I think there's a big difference. Like, if you do
wait. Sorry.
A lot of things, if you're coming 15th place, you're not necessarily in the purses at all. So
let me ask you a question, Ian, because I don't know this. At the Olympics, if you're last place at the Olympics in like the 100-meter sprint, Is that guy still making money? Like not from the Olympics per se, but does he still have sponsors and shit?
Well, they can have sponsors, and maybe their countries. Like I know a lot of countries in Canada, if you're on an Olympic team, you're getting bursaries. So like they might pay you. Like I know it used to be if you were on Team Canada, like you would get 4,000 a month or something, you know.
Yeah.
So you could live more of a professional
If
athlete
you're
life.
from China and you come 15th, you get shot when you go back.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly. And look, maybe I'm wrong that the Olympics is paying these guys coming 8th, 9th, but to my knowledge, they're not. You know, I think you're getting paid if you're in the medals, which is 3 guys, you know. So, and even then at the Olympics, you never hear about how much. Do you know how much Usain Bolt made for any of his wins? We don't know. He could have made $5 for all I know, but he was competing to be the fastest man on the fucking planet. He doesn't give a shit about making 50 grand, 100 grand. He's trying to be the best guy on the planet. You'll make money on your back end with the sponsors, you know. The prize money to me, especially in my career, I honestly, and maybe this is just speaking for myself, I literally never give a fuck about, because it's like where you're making money, especially in this day and age. I know it was different in Lee's, you know, era, but now everyone's making their money on their sponsorships. Like the contracts is where you make your money. That's where you're making salaries and like consistent monthly income. Making a show like prize money. Prize money is things you can't guarantee. You don't base your life off of maybe winning 50 grand.
But I think that was still the case in Lee's era, because he was getting
because
you had a Weeder, you know, you had a Weeder contract with a magazine and a supplement.
Sure.
It's like
but now I'm saying you can be a piss poor bodybuilder, but you could be the best on fucking YouTube and social media, and you can make $20,000 a month easy. You know, like I know guys that are fucking shit bodybuilders that are making $40,000-$50,000 a month, you know? And I know guys that are coming 6th at the Olympia, 10th at the Olympia, 8th at the Olympia that are making no money because they don't play the game of what the world is now and how it revolves, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I think if you're going to miss the opportunity and be like, I want to be a bodybuilder, make all my money off competing, well, you're probably going to make no money, you know? But if you're like, hey, this is how the op world works now, you know, you make your money by promoting companies and you know, endorsements and these things, just like in every other sport. These guys in soccer, hockey, football, you know, they're with Nike, Puma, Adidas, Reebok. This is where they're making their serious money in a lot of it. Obviously, in baseball, some of these are getting ridiculous contracts, but these guys are still making crazy money off these Adidas contracts and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Mike, how do you feel?
I got a question for Mike. Does he follow the Y files on YouTube?
What's the Y
files?
Yeah, WHY files. You have to get Fouad to pull that one up.
I'll look right now.
Am I gonna get in trouble for pulling it up?
No.
Are you
It's a good channel.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yeah.
What is it? Conspiracies?
Yeah. On all like how they've found all those copper pipes from thousands of years ago and led to
the buried cities.
Oh, the Wi-Fi. This thing?
Yeah, that's it.
After Files.
Oh yeah, they've got some good programs in there.
Is this Andrew Dodson guy, the guy who saw the giant in the distance? Is that who that is?
Look at the views on these things.
I know.
The CIA knows about the end of the world. 20 million views.
You know how many people are scared about the end of the world right now, especially because of those.
Well, did you see that new movie? How the World Ends.
I knew you're going
to leave the world behind.
Yeah, leave the world behind. Look who the producers are, Barack and Michelle Obama.
I just said this to them. I'm like, that's kind of fucking weird, isn't it?
There's a new movie called Civil War coming out.
Yeah, well, these organizations, I've heard that, you know, even as much as they like to destroy and be bad, it's in their thing that if they tell you this is what's going to happen, it's sort of
warn you.
Yeah, they have to let you know. Yeah, that way we told you so. It's like, well, look at now when the government brought out UFOs. I mean, that many UFO things and that the government says, oh yeah, we think we do have them. People just go, who cares? It's like, no.
So,
you know?
So I've talked to Iain about this and Mike about this. They both have a place to go if like the world ends. Lee, do you have a place to go if the world ends, or are you just going to ride it out wherever the fuck you're at?
Wherever I'm at. I would love to have one of those bunkers because I see those.
I know, right?
Where's that one guy who's built that real big one and you can buy rooms in it? It's got everything. It's like a city in an old missile thing.
Isn't there like a whole city or a whole land plot in New Zealand? Yeah. In New Zealand, right? And there's like you can buy these bunkers that are like built in the ground. Like the ultra rich buy them.
Oxygen, everything. I mean, you can just live there forever underground. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: if the world ends and we're all, let's say we all live in a major city, right? Or I don't think I live in a major city, but I live in a city. Everyone my first plan is to get the fuck out of the city, but that's probably everybody else's plan. That's probably everybody else's plan too. So like, what do you do?
We need a H1 Hummer so you can get over the hills.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. Something inside me says if shit happens, people will be so in denial of the reality of it happening, they won't even try to leave the city. I think people are just so if the news says no, whatever, but like they'll just sit there and be like, no, we're fine. We're like people will be in such denial and in such paralysis of the situation. I don't think it'll be like people flocking out of the city. Where the fuck are they going to go? Where are you going? I go to the city to where? You don't have anywhere to go.
I hate watching zombie movies. Like, you ever watch zombie movies?
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead and that, and there'll be like a little town of people here and there, and they're all trying to kill each other. I said, wouldn't people, if you're the last people left, join together and like, try and come together? But then when COVID came along, I went, no, we're as humans, we're shit. We're all out for ourselves.
No. When there's fighting for resources, people will go crazy for sure. I agree with that. Like when there's lack of resources, but I also don't think like when it says like people will be leaving the cities, like leaving to go where? Where are you going to go?
So I have family in rural areas.
Okay, but not many people have that.
No, I know, but that's where I'm going. I'm going like into the bush. Like I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like
what about a boat? Get a boat, go out to the ocean if it's the tidal wave.
The 19 million people living in downtown Toronto, or the 30 million living in downtown New York, you think all those people just have friends and family that they can just flock to? Like, where are these people going to go? And a lot of them, like I said, I think will just be in such denial of the situation. Like, no one ever is going to think that the world's actually ending to the reality to that point, where I think no one will even move. They'll just sit there.
The world ending is like more of a reference of like when all your senses, like in terms of like internet, all this stuff, when all this stuff is shut down. That's how that world, whatever that Julia Roberts movie, that's what got people. That's what turned the tide, and that's what he talks about. He's like, you make them deaf, blind, and dumb, so they don't know. They have no information. Yeah.
Okay. Question, Mike, because you're crazy. If tomorrow the internet just shuts down, like your phone's not working, the TV's not working, nothing's working, how long do you wait before you get in your truck and fuck off?
See, this is what I'm saying, because the people will just sit there.
Wait a minute. I want Mike to, and
you have to gauge how things are going, right? Like you'd have to literally take a survey of like what's happening in your immediate like 2-kilometer radius.
Play it out for me. What's happening? You got 3 dogs, you got a mom and a wife. What's going on?
If I know the internet's gone down and that there's no way for people to get money and the banks are shut down, I'm leaving immediately.
Okay, so the money in the bank, in the banks are the ticket.
When people can't access ways to buy things or to access any resources, that's when you get the fuck out of Dodge, because then they start going places to find resources,
right?
And looting houses and robbing people and like taking their resources because they have no access to resources themselves, right? So I would literally immediately be gone.
So I don't want to give any too much information, but like, does everybody have like a stash of like cash that they can like disappear with?
Answering these questions, are you crazy?
500 meters off Newcastle here, I have a hidden submarine. It's just waiting.
No, because
I cheap off Russia.
Listen, I don't know if this is making it older, but I'm getting crazier, and I've been watching some of these prepping videos. And this guy's like, you should have cash in your house. You should have cash stashed somewhere, like away from your house. You should have,
but remember in that movie too, there gets to a point too where like, is cash even worth anything anymore? What do you want cash for? Cash may not be worth shit.
The reason I say that is because if all the digital shit is down, cash is all you have to barter with.
Well, no, you have resources to barter with.
That's if you have food
in the world
like
before,
the guy
it was all a barter system. It's like I have a goat. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, like in the movie, they needed antibiotics, so they're like, we'll give you $1,000 cash, or just fucking help us out here. So he's like, I'm gonna take something for something. He's like, and he says in the movie, he's like, I didn't think the bartering would come in until later.
Yeah,
like I didn't think a bartering system would come in until later, but this is how fast things are digressing, right?
Because like there's going to get to like a point too where it's like money to do what? To go to a store that's closed? Like,
so basically,
it's going to be about like, I have medicine, you have food, I've got gasoline, you've got ammunition. Like, what do we?
All right, I got an idea.
Well, you need to stock up on shit that's tradable. You need
a 68 Camaro. A 68 Camaro, no electronics involved in my car. That's why all I need is fuel, and I'm out. They can't shut me down. I'll be like Mad Max looking for fuel.
But then there gets to a point too where then it's like, well, now you need fuel. You're out of fuel. The pumps are down. They're all digital. How are you going to get gas? So now gas becomes a transactional thing.
I think instead of stashing cash, I'm going to stash beans, and rice. And I'm going to talk to my doctor and make sure I get tons of antibiotics.
And gasoline.
Yeah.
And testosterone.
It's just convenient. It's very convenient that all this stuff's coming out in an election year.
Yeah.
Mike,
Very
don't be
convenient.
fucking crazy, man. You're fucking scare me. Don't fucking.
Well, like you said too, there's that Civil War movie coming out too.
Yeah.
When the guy says in the fucking preview, he's like, "I'm American." He goes, "What kind of American are you?"
I saw that.
Literally. It's like, that's not the most chilling thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
You're fucking gone.
And that's exactly what that movie with Julie Roberts was too. That was like a civil war that was going on there, right?
Yep. Well, back in the day, we were all laughing at Dick Tracy talking into his phone watch, weren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right, let's do some questions before we go. We got like half an hour. What is one food you would want to come back as when you die for your spouse to eat one more time before they die? What?
Why can't she eat it when I'm dead?
I'm going to read this word for word again, okay? What is one food you would want to come back as when you die for your spouse to eat one more time before they die? That's exactly.
Oh, so I'm dead and I'm coming back as a food, so my wife.
You're coming back as a fucking slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be coming back as a bottle of tequila.
Yeah. That's right. Would you rather eat a week-old rice or a week-old steak?
Week-old rice.
Rice.
Oh wait, a week-old steak. That's not even that old. I eat week-old meat all the time. That's fine.
Basically jerky at that point.
Yeah.
I mean week-old steak.
Yeah, I mean,
Has it been left in the fridge or left on the
thinly slice that, it's like a little prosciutto.
I mean, if they're both cooked in the fridge after a week, honestly, I think they're both completely fine.
1 second here. Let's see. More.
Depends what sauce you got in all the preservatives.
Yeah.
Week-old chicken, I wouldn't eat that, I don't think.
Here, let's see if this brings us any information.
Hey.
Well, meat is definitely going to make you more sick, obviously, than rice.
Not necessarily.
Of course it is. It's a fucking
Rice is pretty brutal. Have you seen how bad rice gets after
rice? The bacteria in rice is bad. It's
Does rice get like an arsenic type thing to it after it goes old? Or?
Yeah,
dude,
very bad.
Rice is like listen, rice is one of those things, like if it's on the counter for like an hour too long, it gets fucked up right away.
Dude,
that's why I think a lot of bodybuilders have like digestive issues because they're eating this fucking like rancid rice.
I'll cook rice and leave it on the counter for 3 days.
Fucking iron stomach over here.
Yeah.
No wonder you're spraying the toilet all the time. Your fucking stomach.
Now they're the opposite. I was just saying to Mike, they're too solid now, you know.
Like I'm pushing out gold bars back there.
Like I don't want to go, it hurts.
Out of all the younger aged open class guys competing at a high level, who do you think has the greatest potential to be Mr. Olympia?
Who's young? I mean, Derek's probably the youngest, and he already won the Olympia. I mean, who's even younger than that?
Well, they cite Regan, Theo, and Martin as examples.
How old is Neckzilla? He's young, isn't he?
20? Isn't he 26 or 28?
Oh, so, I mean, him then. Yeah, he's younger than any of those guys we just named.
Yeah,
because Regan's not you. Regan's 30. I mean, it's not like Regan's.
What about Vito?
I think people still think Regan's 25 for some reason. You know,
because he still looks good. That's why he hasn't aged at all.
Yeah.
Do you think? What about Vito? I think he's like 25 or 26.
Yeah,
Vito. I think Vito's better than Rubiel.
I don't know. I need to see Vito on a pro stage before I buy into it. So I'm not there yet. Yeah.
No more Vito hype. I'm done that.
I'm on the hype. I'm on the hype train.
He also did not compete at all this season after like 15 tries. So I mean, I'm losing steam here. You know.
Well, maybe he just had hernia surgery. He's gonna be back next year.
Real bodybuilders compete. We know how it is. Come on.
Yeah, hernia or not.
Get up there. I don't care if you're fucking, shit's dying or whatever. Just get up there,
Lee, what's your favorite or most proud moment of 2023?
Favorite or proud moment 2023? I don't know. Waking up breathing every day. Once you get to 51, I wake up, I'm like, I'm still here. It's like, great. I don't know. Probably. It might be something simple, like I just adopted that old cat a couple of weeks ago. Little things like that. I'm not proud, but they just bring me joy. They make you feel good.
Like yeah. Iain or Mike, anything?
Well, I retired. That was awesome.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Yeah, you retired. I keep forgetting you're retired.
Yeah.
What do you do anymore? You just sit there all day.
Well, okay,
No,
you're a professional bodybuilder. Wait. You were a professional bodybuilder. We do way less in our days when we're competing than we do after.
That's true.
Like, what do you do? It's like, what do you mean? When I was bodybuilding, I just ate all day. Yeah, I literally did nothing. You know.
Mike,
exactly. You wouldn't do anything when you're competing. It's like, I can't go for a walk. I could burn
nothing.
muscle.
I did nothing. Now I do. My days, like today, I got up. We painted my fucking bedroom. We were out doing errands. I went to the track. Like, fuck, I'm doing 10 times more shit.
If you're competing, you'd never do that. Like painting, that would work too much shoulder. My arms are going to rest. I'm not going to grow. No.
Mike, anything from 2023?
It sounds sappy, but probably meeting you guys and not finding more people on this planet that I like, because I hate so many.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Just the time, like the time spent, you know what I mean? Like all of us hanging out and going to Windsor and being at the Olympia together and shit was fun as hell. So
I did like that video of Mike from the Olympia. He ran into that guy I ran into once with the scales.
Fucking dork with the scale. Fuck that guy.
What was yours, Fouad? Favorite 2023?
I want to say the Olympia or the cottage. That was my favorite. I wouldn't say those were proud moments, but my favorite moments.
Yeah, your birthday was fun too when we were there.
I think Mike's right. I think I've been through a lot of shit up and down with people who've been part of my life and then not been part of my life, and not sure why certain people are part of my life. So meeting people that are here for more than surface reasons was made 23 a good year for sure.
When you say you're not proud, did you do something that you're ashamed of?
No, well, I always do things. I do a lot of things. Things I can't mention on the podcast.
You make sure you put your phones away before you.
How does it feel to give back to the community? I always wish others did or have done for you. I will say, you know what? Speaking on the last question in conjunction with this, my proudest moment has been being able to give bigger and bigger contracts to the athletes that we sponsor, because that feels really good to be able to call somebody and say, we're going to increase, we're going to do this, we're going to do that for you. So
for sure,
I think for sure out of 2023, that's one of my highlights, like giving Samson a signature series. Like, yeah, those are just for sure my proudest moments have been like things that we've done for Samson and like watching the company grow and be able to help people out.
See, mine was still like more animals, because I just had that contest I had in Italy. I brought home a couple of medals from that and I signed them and I put them on Instagram, and I auctioned them off. Yeah. And the last one I auctioned off was like, I got $2,000 for that and a couple of signed photos. Yeah. You know, Sean does videos, Lee must be broke, but all that money I give to the local animal shelters. I give to the local animal shelters like Hunter Animal Rescue and the RSPCA. That's just awesome. For like, for all the dogs and cats that are in there. That's where all the money goes. I don't keep a dime of it. So
that's really cool. I like that you do that. You know what? It's funny is just yesterday I was on the petadoption.ca, I think is the website or something like that. And it was like showing dogs in the Windsor area that are up for adoption. I'm just a little hesitant because I've been looking for a second dog. And there's always like King Corsos or like pit bulls and shit that are on there that are already like 4 and 5 years old. And I'm like, I want to do something.
Yeah, bring that into the house with your dog. Though you got to be careful.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm like a little hesitant.
That's a single dog household. I mean, you'd have to have them around your dog, but a bigger dog that's older, you need to be careful. Yeah,
they need to acclimate, because if your dog's possessive of your house and territorial, you have to sort of introduce them slowly and stuff. Because the last cat I got, they're like, wouldn't be no good around other cats. Because I'd been down to the pet store, I'd been there for 2 months, and it's still sitting there. And they said, "Oh, we're going to send it to Sydney." And once it goes to Sydney, it's going off you put to sleep. So I said, can only be the only cat. And I've already got 5. I'm thinking, I'll take it home. Brought it home. First day, a few. Next day, he's licking all the other cats. They're sleeping together. So
there you go.
So,
where are you from in Australia, Lee?
Newcastle, like 2 hours north of Sydney.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll ask you guys the same question, because we all give back in some way. How does it feel to give back to the community? Mike?
I don't know what I'm giving. Oh,
you do videos, you give information, you help people with their training. Like, that's all giving back.
I mean, it feels good. Like a lot of people tell me like, oh, you need to you should start charging for this, start charging for that, and all this shit. It's just like I don't feel like information should be held hostage. So I'd rather just give it out and make money in other ways and allow that information just to flow. I think that's how a lot of information, a lot of good information gets held back from people, is that people hold it hostage, right? And it's very basic shit. So I feel good when I give back to people. I also feel good when I actually train people and I see like the look on their face, or like something something they felt they haven't felt before. That like eureka moment is like the most rewarding thing for me on a one-on-one basis, for sure.
Mine's more, like I said, mine's more, you go in here.
No, go ahead, Lee.
I was just going, mine really, I think, like I said, my last show was 2013, and that mine's more outside now. Like I'll go to restaurants with my wife and I'll see an old couple and that, and I'll just say to waitress, bring me their bill, I'll pay their bill. And just seeing them, but don't tell them I'm paying it, just seeing them walk out, they say, oh, someone's paid your bill, and they just like have that look on their face. And I was getting my car service the other day, and I was talking to this guy who's like 81. He was talking about his lonely because his wife passed away, and he goes to them men's sheds where they just get together and do stuff and that. And he ended up being like a retired policeman and that. But when he's first looking at me, he's giving me that look like a guy with tattoos. And I'm thinking, we got talking, got on great. And my friend owns a mechanic shop. When I went there, he goes, okay, your car's ready. He's like, oh, I hope I can afford it. I just walked over and said, Craig, give me his bill. I was like $351. I looked down and went, oh, fucking hell, just pay it. And he just turned around. He just broke down crying. He's like, no one's ever done that for me. So I like doing things like that. And then I was over, that's when I went to New Jersey. I got a message off this girl. I was from his daughter saying, are you really that genuine? My father's been a cop this long. He's always cop shit and stuff. No one's ever done anything nice for him. So I like doing things like that, but not letting people know. Like I might buy a $100 gift card if there's an old lady behind me at the grocery store, and tell the clerk when she comes through, use this for her groceries and stuff. So I like doing things like that, but keeping it under the radar type thing.
You're gonna get a fuckload of DMs now from people asking you for money. This happened to Ian before.
Yeah, some guy
I used to do that for homeless in when I lived in Venice. I'd always give out money, and I drove the Hummer. I'd pull up at the stop sign. They'd come running to the car. Are you Lee? Our friends say that you give out money. I'm like,
some guy from the UK messaged me one day, and he was like, oh, I'm low on cash and I don't get paid till Friday. Do you think you could fucking lend me some money, kind of thing? He's like, I feel so embarrassed asking this. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I don't even care if I get it back, like whatever. He's like, no, I'll pay you back, And he ended up paying me back. So I sent him like, I don't know, fucking
$50 or something like that, right?
50 euros or 50 pounds or something.
Yeah.
And then we like talked about it on the podcast. And after that, man, I had so many people. I think most of them were joking, obviously, like just with me because I said it.
Yeah.
But fuck, I had like an influx for a few weeks after that.
Yeah.
My mum always said if I won $1 million, I'd be like, if I was a millionaire, I'd be broke because I get more enjoyment. Yeah, I've never been materialistic. It's nice to have things, but I've always been like, as long as I've got a roof over my head, my bills are paid, I got food on the table, I'm happy. Because there's only, like I said, Ed Connors would always get mad at me. Lee, you could be doing more guest postings, making more money. I said, yeah, but doing that would stress me out. So I could make more money, yes, but I wouldn't be happy. So I was happy to make less money, but yet just be happy training and just doing what I did.
Well, it's like Mike was just saying this on the last podcast, is like, I think we all kind of agreed that the only reason like having cool shit or having money is great is because you can share it with people you love or whatever. So it's funny you said that though, Lee, because I think I don't remember if I was at a convenience store or the grocery store. I remember this lady needed like 80 or $100, and I was like, I kind of wanted to be like, she seemed like she was stressed out about it, and I was like, I kind of want to like help her, but at the same time, I thought to myself, if I offer to help her, is that embarrassing her? So I just held back. I didn't say anything. So I've thought of stuff like that, but I've never done that. So I think
I've done it before where people will get sort of embarrassed, like, no, you don't have to. And I don't want to start an argument with you, but look, it's been done. I said, look, just let me do it for you. My grandparents would be proud. They raised me that way, and they're like, oh, well, thank you very much. But but I know what you mean. Some people can take it. Well, I opened not long ago, going in a shopping center, opened the door for my wife. I hold the door open. A woman comes along. I hold the door. She goes, I can do that myself. I'm like, oh
my God.
Exactly. So you can get the wrong person who will, take it, make something nice turn into something.
Too much pride. They can't take it.
It's not even that I think they would be rude about it. I feel like they might be embarrassed that they know they need help, and I don't want to Yeah,
but that's why it's good. I think the way Lee does it is good like that, where it's like, You know, if you're just in the grocery store, you don't know if the person behind you's got money or not, but
Anonymous.
cards they use on the next person,
Yeah.
you can just leave and you know, they can do their thing and they can be happy about it and it makes their day, but it doesn't need to like put them on the spot, you know?
Yeah.
You'd be like, you're the 50th customer. You're today's winner.
Yeah.
You're on your way to the hospital in a cab and your wife is about to go into labor. Then the lights go on and you realize you're in the cash cab. Do you play for money or skip? What is the cash cab?
You've never
It's
seen
a
that
game
show?
show inside a
Game
cab.
show.
Oh, that's an old show, isn't it? That's old.
Yeah.
It says, do you play for money or skip?
So
Of course, she's still going there. Why wouldn't you want to earn some fucking cash on? She still drives you where you're going.
Especially if you live in the US, you're going to get a steep bill for that fucking labor, so you might as well get that money.
Name a restaurant that's in Canada that could do well in America.
Moxie's.
Swiss Chalet.
Swiss Chalet's in the US or no?
No, they got Boston Market, I think.
Oh yeah, I feel like
Tim
Moxie's are
Hortons in USA.
Tim
Yeah,
Hortons
but
in the
they're
USA
some
now.
on the East Coast, but I don't think they do that well.
I saw Tim Hortons in the Dubai Mall.
Oh, really? They fucking went worldwide.
Yeah. Apparently the people in Dubai love this kind of shit, so they have in the Dubai Mall there was a.
Why would you? I'm gonna pull like a little bit of like a racism here, but the fucking coffee over there, Arab coffee is way better. Why the fuck would you drink
here we go.
It's a grass is greener thing, and they want like Americanized and Canadian.
Why would you drink?
Thing.
Why do you drink fucking Tim Hortons coffee when you have fucking the Arab coffee?
Maybe at Tim Hortons they're serving just like their like Arab fucking ass beans and Tim Hortons.
Isn't it an authentic Canadian experience? Do they say "a" in Dubai? Hey,
Yeah, I feel like Swiss Chalet, Moxie's, Milestones, those would all do good there.
I was just saying to my wife, Australia doesn't really have, apart from McCafe, which got started in Australia, we don't really have a breakfast place. We don't have like a Denny's or IHOP chain.
Australia doesn't? No? We don't really either in Canada. Denny's isn't Canadian. It's American, right?
There's Sunset Grill.
But we have the
Cora's. Yeah.
Is Sunset Grill Canadian?
Yeah, Cora's.
Cora. Yeah.
Cora's Montreal.
We don't have any type of breakfast chain similar to that here.
What is Australian food? Because we've been having this debate recently on the podcast about English food being shit. And James and Ben think it's great. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, Australian food's English food made better.
Okay. So what's like a main dish that you would serve in Australia?
It'd be like almost like steak and potatoes, and same as America or England, meat pies and shepherd's pie, and pretty much the same.
Okay.
But we have a big mixed culture here too, so there's tons of Indian places now and all types of stuff.
What is it with white people and Indian food? I noticed
well, it's a lot of Indians immigrated to these countries like the UK and Australia, so it's like brought a lot of their food.
Lots of Greek restaurants here as well.
Yeah, I like Greek food a lot.
It just depends on like what kind of what population of like immigrated to those countries, and you're gonna have those kind of like food influences, you know. Or
is it because the Brits invaded India?
Oh, here we go. Back to invasion. You have to bring that up.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up.
That's probably the right answer. Yes. Yeah.
I think I came from convicts here. You know, we would every time I go to England, they're like, "Oh, you got shipped to Australia." I'm like, "No, my ancestors were smart enough to know if they stole a loaf of bread, they got shipped to a better country." That's what.
What made you decide to pick up your dog, and what's one piece of advice to give a new dog owner? Anybody? You guys all have dogs. You guys all have dogs. What's one advice? One piece of advice.
Yeah, to be patient.
You got to have patience, because sometimes you can be having a bad day, and sometimes your dog only wants to show you love, and you feel like getting mad at the dog. You're like, I can't do that because the dog, wants to be friendly and that, so you can't take it out on your animal. So you got to be patient with them and give them attention, and don't walk them on a hot day. Yesterday it was like 45 degrees Celsius. These assholes are out walking their dogs on the pavement. I'm like,
no, that's actually, you know what? I don't think that's, well, I'm not sure if it is, if it's common knowledge or not. That's actually a really good piece of advice for people to know that, because I think, because most dogs will just, if you take them outside to play, they'll play. Yeah. They'll play till they keel over. Yeah. I think it's a dog owner's responsibility.
Well, especially with Frenchies. I'm sure Mike knows this with like his guide dogs too. Like
if you get a Frenchie, be prepared for it to vomit constantly.
You literally just can't, like, if it's 30 degrees outside, you can't bring them outside, period. Like, they just can't go out, you know?
Yeah.
And if you can't put your own hand on the ground for 5 seconds, you shouldn't be walking your dog on the.
Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, and we did it when all our dogs are young, is we crate trained all our dogs, and it was like the best thing ever. You know?
What do you mean crate trained? How? Like, I think I've done that too. What do you mean? Like what?
Like when they were young, like they would sleep in the crate, and when we leave the house, we'd go in the crate, but then they ended up, like, they like it and they would want to go in there during the day. Now that they're older dogs, we don't even have crates in our house anymore.
Yeah.
But like when they were young, in terms of, because they don't generally like to piss and shit where they sleep.
Right. I did the same thing.
And it like gives them, I think, a sense of like kind of like a safe space like that.
I'm like that too, but I gave up on it.
As I get older, you know, when you got to go, you got to go.
Just fucking let it rip.
No, when they were puppies, we did that with all our dogs, and I'm like so glad we did, compared to like some of our friends that didn't. And you're like constantly cleaning up piss and shit for the first few, you know.
Yeah, we did the same thing, and then when we did come home, we just leave the doors open to their crates, and they would still go in there.
They would still go in it, and they'd sleep in there, and then they, you know, and then over time, I would take the crate away, but leave the bed on that same spot of the floor, and they would always sleep in that spot of the floor. But
I was going to say, my best advice is probably be consistent.
Yeah.
Because there's times where you're like, you want to cuddle with your dog, and you're like, oh, you're allowed on the couch. Like, my dogs are allowed on the couch, but some people they're not. And then there's other times where you don't want them on the couch. You're like, get down off the couch. And like you just confuse the fuck out of the dog. Like,
it's the same with kids. It's like kids and animals, like routine and consistency is like such an important thing for them, you know.
And when you get over 50 like me, it's always good to have the dog. You can always blame the dog. Like when she comes home from work and I'm cleaning shit off the carpet, I'm like, fucking dog did it again, honey.
Guy shits everywhere.
Always blame the dog.
Okay. I'm not sure what this means. I'm just going to read it. If size matters, think about your own dick size and answer this. How big is too big, or how much would you be able to take? I shouldn't have read this question. I don't know what the fuck.
What the fuck? Like, how much would we be able to take if we were getting fucked by a dick? Like, what kind of question is it?
By our own dick?
Just skip it. Just skip this one.
So I think the question is like, you can only make your dick as big as you're going to take.
What?
Yeah. I think you
you can't say
you're reaching on that one, but I think
I like pain. I'd rape the shit out of myself. I like pain.
Yeah.
It's like, you can give yourself a 12-inch dick, but then you have to take a 12-inch dick, you know?
Yeah. Is that what he's saying?
I don't know, but we can make it that.
I don't know.
And then I'm going to go curl up in the shower.
All right, no, I don't want to go into that. No, let's not do that.
It's the crying game.
There's another one, a different guy too. Did your wiener to ball ratio improve after taking gear?
Well, obviously.
Yes, of course.
The balls are just, I always say that balls are decoration. They just hang like decorations on a Christmas tree. It's the gifts that are under the tree. It's like as long as you've got a good shaft, it's not like you're trying to shove your balls in with it. So who needs them? Yeah.
Sometimes.
They're just decoration. Come on.
That must be an Arab. That must be an Arab thing to us.
No, it's not.
Go in.
Let me read the one that I sent you guys in the chat.
Okay, go ahead. The last question. Go ahead.
This is the one that I sent you guys that was in my Q&A.
This one. We've done this on the podcast before.
Oh, we've done this before. Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, never mind.
No, go ahead. No, I want to know what Lee says. Go ahead.
It says, your mom and your girl switched minds, but in order to change it back, you have to have sex with one of them.
So you're either fucking your girlfriend in your mom's body or your mom in your girlfriend's body.
Why couldn't I do them both?
You could do them both.
Well, there we go. I'd have a threesome. I wouldn't want to leave one out. And make
it'd almost be like a foursome because you're like in different minds and bodies.
Well, my father is gay. My father's gay now. His mind was in it too. I guess it would be.
Yeah, you don't want to make anyone feel left out. You got to involve everyone.
Exactly.
Lee, how old were you?
Family.
Lee, how old were you when you found out your dad was gay?
12. About 12, 13. He's been with his partner now 40 odd years. So
yeah, but let me ask you this. This is kind of interesting to me. So you were 12. This is way back in the day when it wasn't accepted.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you growing up? Like, did your friends at school know? Did people at school know? Like
some like might have ribbed me about it, but my true friends didn't really care because in the beginning I didn't even think about it because when you're young, you'd have your mates would stay over, you have a movie night. So my mate staying over to me was like, oh, that's my dad's mate that stays over all the time. I never even wasn't thinking the sexual side of it, but it wasn't until I still remember the name of the movie. I went to my dad's house early. He was at work still, and there was some VHS videos, and I'm like, this was what it was.
No.
Boys in
Boys and what? What was it called?
Boys in the Sand.
Oh, good.
It was boys bum fucking each other on the beach. I'm like, holy fuck.
Sounds innocent enough. Let's throw it in.
And then I started panicking, thinking, did my dad have that on a certain spot? And now I've got to try to rewind it to where it was. I still remember the name of the movie. That was my first time I saw anything like that.
So that's when you found out your dad was gay. You were 12.
Yeah.
So did you talk to him after? Like, did he tell you, or did you just assume like he's gay?
My mum told me, and then after she told me, it didn't change who he was or anything. And then I had a cousin who was a transsexual and stuff like that. And him and his friends would come up from Sydney and stuff, and that was some of the funniest people I ever met. Those things. So yeah, but back then it was like when he was turning to a trans, well, not turning, but he felt he was. He went through that whole. He went to see someone to talk about it to make sure it was the right thing. Now it's like one day someone's non-binary, next day. He went through the whole process to make sure it was really what he wanted. Now it just seems like a cool thing to do. Now.
It's trendy. Yeah. So can I ask you a question then? You're pretty right-leaning, like in the way you think on some things. I know you're also very open and liberal about a lot of other things. So, but I know like when it comes to the trans stuff, you're very, I don't want to say against it, but like you kind of make fun of it a little bit. But coming from your background, people wouldn't know that. Like people wouldn't know that you have that background.
My dad, I know I did an interview once. My dad got mad at me because in the interview, I'm not sure if I told you, we're talking about fate. You know, you be in a certain place at a certain place in your life, you know, and fate happens, and you know your life goes this way instead of that way. Yeah. You know, because my mum, when she met my dad, she sort of knew he was gay, but back in those days, it was like, if we go to church, the church can change you. So
yeah.
So I was joking around on a podcast once, and I said, imagine if my mother never met my dad at that point in time. I said, you know, there would have been no Lee Priest. I would have been shot up someone's asshole or spat on the floor because my mum and dad would never have met. And my dad's like, that's not very funny. I said, but it's true. I could have just been spat out. Instead, you met mum at that point, and here
you're
all about fate.
You have to think about that. Like, because if he was having sex with dudes, like, your chances of being made were so low.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Of having a dad that made you with a woman with a gay dad is like so low of odds, you know?
I want to say so many fucking rude things right now, but I'm not going to say it.
We've been up and up already, haven't said.
No. Holy fuck, Lee. Okay, we're going to end it there. Lee, we normally Paul says a prayer to lead us off, but since you're the most religious of all of us here, can you say a prayer?
Me religious? I got Lucifer tattooed on.
Pull the Pope back out.
Yeah, pull the Pope back in there. Yeah. And then you can lead us off with a prayer.
Get him to bless you. Get him to bless you again.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Stop being like my father.
Oh my God, Lee.
You remind me of someone.
Ruthless.
If it wasn't for the Catholic Church, I wouldn't have had my first sexual experience.
Holy shit.
They give you that wine. They give you that little bit of wine in that wafer.
Yeah.
It says it's the body of Christ.
You ready?
Like, that's your cock. That's not a wafer. Come on.
Oh God, Lee. You're gonna get
sure
me canceled. Come on. Give me a quick sign off prayer.
Oh, sign off prayer. Okay.
Yeah, dear leader. Start with dear leader.
Why does he always say leader like I'm talking? It's like he's talking to an alien.
Because he doesn't want to offend anybody, so he doesn't say dear God or Allah. Or, he's covering everybody by saying dear leader.
Okay, dear leader, thank you for this great podcast today. I want to wish everyone a happy holidays, and everyone takes care of their loved ones, even the people who don't have loved ones, who have friends around them. All take care of one another and just look out for one another, and give someone a text and just see that they're okay. Amen.
That's a great.
That was way better than Paul.
Great fucking prayer. Holy shit. That's
well,
what
I was going to say Merry Christmas, but then that could offend people, so I had to say holidays. So.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you very
but
much.
That's the thing too, because I've always said just text somebody, because I'm accused of the most because we spend so much time online arguing with idiots we don't even know that people who we care about the most and closest to, we could go days or weeks without texting them. So always just say, just send the message. Hi, how you going?
It's
Send
true.
a love emoji. Thinking of you. Because I said we
True.
spent hours arguing with people we've never met, but the people closest to us we seem to push aside. And when they're gone, you'll be wishing you had have sent that text.
You're right. You're right. Well, thank you, Lee. I appreciate I appreciate the time of the podcast and the prayer.
Thank you.
And, we'll catch you guys next week.
See you, boys.
You guys.